The Fan.
Hey, what it do? What's up? What's going on? Good Monday. How's everybody?
Hello.
Hello.
Everybody, you and I, we're good, I guess.
I know.
I mean, for about... And you know, I know this about you now at this point. I never panic when this happens.
What?
Well, we had about a minute left of commercial time, and I had not seen your pretty face yet.
Yeah.
And so...
But you know I'm going to be here.
Well, and moreover, I know that if you weren't going to make it, that I would have heard something.
Or something terrible happened.
Well,
you know?
I think that is percentage-wise the least likely thing to have happened. So I figured you're either going to show up in the nick of time or I'll hear something. That was what I guessed.
Right.
So Rust was out there being like, "You really haven't seen Isaac yet?" I'm like, "Nope, but he'll probably be here. I'm sure he will be."
Yeah.
And
I'm here.
And sure enough,
I think
you come.
this is me.
Yeah.
Is this me?
Yeah, that's you. At least as far as I can tell.
Hi. I'm a balloon.
Unless you're an imposter.
Bye.
Hi, I'm a balloon. Bye.
No imposters here. Yeah, I was running a little late today, coming in a little hot. I was listening to. Oh wait, before I get to that, I have to ask you this.
Yes.
And be honest.
Yeah.
If Sook were the only one here today, and you in the same scenario occurred, would you be more worried?
I don't know that I would be more worried. I think that he's probably cut it close more frequently than you. He seems like he's driving further distances, either from his gym or from Washington or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also think he would let me know, especially if he knew it was just going to be the two of us.
That's true.
If it were,
but he doesn't have a very strong sense of time, and he will admit that.
And there are plenty of times that we're scheduled to do something, and he'll be like, 5 minutes or whatever. I think if it were the three of us, we might not hear anything, but if it were just me and him, I might hear something.
Yeah, you're probably right. There was a time on our show, and we've been together a long time. Not you and I.
No.
But Sook and I. There was a time where, man, it was like a 50-50 proposition if he was coming in. Like, it was a wild ride early in the...
Like showing up at all for work?
Sometimes.
Why?
Yeah. Just, life.
Stuff happening.
Things. We've all come a long way. Let's put it that way.
So there were days that you just weren't sure if you were going to have a co-host?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. There were periods. I mean, it wouldn't be every day.
Sure.
But there were periods of like, and he would, he'd tell you that. But now, he's Mr. Reliable.
Yeah.
Except that he's not here today.
No.
I feel like a total idiot.
He's in New Orleans again. Again!
Yeah, he was there not too recent. I mean, he was there pretty recently, right? Like 6 months ago, maybe?
Well, I was just saying, like, he was there
He's
Friday.
been there within the last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think New Orleans is kind of his, like, I love Vegas, he loves New Orleans.
Yeah, I love New Orleans as well.
Yeah.
But I also love Vegas. I love both.
Yeah. Well, where are you going to go next? That's the question.
Well, see, it's easy. It's way easier to get to Vegas. Although I would prefer to go to New Orleans again. I've been to Vegas many times, probably a dozen or so.
2-hour flight.
But I've only been to New
shot.
Orleans once, and I would like to go back.
And they have lots of flights to New Orleans. Yeah, Vegas.
Vegas, yeah.
New Orleans, I think, is kind of hard to get to from here.
It's very difficult to get to. You pretty much have to go, usually I think have to go through either Denver, Houston, or Atlanta, perhaps.
Yeah, you can't get there direct.
It's not, I don't think from Portland you can go direct. Which is a bummer.
Might as well be going to Mexico. Although you can fly direct to Mexico from here. Can't you?
I think you can.
Maybe not.
No,
Maybe not.
I'm pretty sure. I think I did that about a year and a half ago.
I thought you had to go to like LA or San Diego.
Or maybe through Seattle. I don't know.
Anyway, I was listening to by the way, Sook back tomorrow.
Yep.
We will have our live broadcast out at X Golf Tualatin tomorrow for the Fan Winter Golf Classic. So he'll be here. He said he'll be hungover, but
I believe that's Tualatin.
But he'll be here. Yeah, wait, what did I say?
Tualatin.
Did I not? Did I?
Yeah,
or did I say Vancouver?
No. I was just saying.
Okay.
No, I was correcting your pronunciation of Tualatin to Tualatin.
Right. We will be down in Tualatin.
Which you explained to me on Friday was a men's tennis doubles player getting that wrong on an ad spot.
Did we forget the names of those guys? Like the Hanson brothers?
No, they were the Bryan brothers.
I think they were the Jensens.
The Jensens? Well, who were the weren't there volleyball bros too?
They had nothing to do with Tualatin, though. It was a tennis guy. I think it was the Jensen brothers. Look them up.
Jensen brothers?
They were playing a match down there, and he pronounced it Tualatin on the spot.
Oh, so yeah, these are some old head dudes.
Yeah, what are their names?
Yeah, Luke Jensen and Murphy Jensen?
Maybe?
I don't know.
Maybe it was the Bryans. I don't know. Who cares?
Not important.
Not important. The point is, hungover souk is fun souk. So
Yeah,
that'll
true.
be a fun show tomorrow. We'll be out at X Golf Tualatin. Now, I was listening to Brooke Olzendam as I drove in, as I was speeding down the freeways to get here on time, and I had to pour a cup of Joe.
Naturally.
Would you believe I played golf this morning in this weather?
Oh,
Would you
well,
believe that?
I mean, at least in my neck of the woods in Beaverton, today's weather was weird. It was nice in the morning. I was like doing dishes in the mid-afternoon, and we were getting like sleet snow in our backyard, and now it looks kind of nice again.
Yeah, and then, so you were where? You're where?
Beaverton?
Yeah, well, Beaverton was the one that had the report of snow.
Yeah, I saw it in my backyard, yeah.
But that was this morning, like early.
Oh, well, I didn't see that then.
But it came in waves. It was like sunny and then
a lot of sleet, weird slushy stuff.
It was a weird weather day. But I played golf this morning, and I'll be damned if it wasn't delightful. I mean, it rained on us one hole, the 17th hole. We almost got through it unscathed. 17th hole it rained, just a little squall, came through, moved on. It was nice. I played Saturday too, and Saturday was worse than today.
Yeah, Saturday collectively probably was.
It was windy and cold on Saturday. This one was sneaky delightful out there this morning. We just got lucky. We got lucky.
Yeah.
Anyway, driving in, vrooming around Portland trying to get into my radio show here, and I hear Brooke Olzendam of the Blazers sitting in there with, in here, with Danny and Dusty. And what a treat that is. The indelible Brooke Olzendam.
Notable Swiftie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we talked to her about the Taylor Swift show in Seattle. Like, she's great. Everybody loves Brooke. She told a story, and I'm terrified that this will now become a thing. She told a story on the air that I think it was like she got off her set at halftime or whatever. And a group of bros who had had some drinks, they yelled something at her. And of course, she's probably used to the, hey, Brooke, we love you, Brooke, or whatever.
Sure.
And she'll just give them the, yeah, nice to see you, how are you? Whatever her signature.
Yeah, kind of the throwaway wave, if you will. But even though it's not throwaway, but yeah.
Well, she said she didn't quite hear what the guy said, but she turned and gave him the heart.
Sure.
With the hands.
Heart hands, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the O, like the duck O, but it's the heart.
Yeah, and there's a whole emoji in your iPhone with it and everything.
Yeah. That's right, there is.
Now there is, yeah.
And so she gave him the heart, and then all of her producers and people on the show were looking at her like, what are you doing?
Uh-oh. Did they say something like horribly offensive that she then like approved of, kind of?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
They said that he propositioned her rather vulgarly.
Oh, no.
Yes. She didn't hear it, so she just gave him the heart. So it was funny. Funny story. Everybody laughed. Good times. We're telling radio stories, right? But I just told her this as I saw her, as I was racing in my Nike shoe, my Nike track shoes, because I had to wear Nike track shoes to get here on time. I run so fast. And so I was running into the studio, and I said, look, I got to go. I gave her a hug. I was like, I got to go, but I got to tell you, here's all I was thinking when you told that story. I'm like, Brooke, guys are going to start in a vulgar way propositioning you all the time now. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, now that it's out there
You told that story, and now the bros are going to run with that.
Opened a can of worms there.
Yeah, so now you're going to have to heart all these awful propositions that you're going to get.
Oh no.
Drunk Blazer bro.
Bully's ass!
And she goes, I wasn't thinking. And I don't think, I think that's what's going to happen. Well, what I want to tell everyone is don't do that.
Yeah, hopefully there won't be too many idiot knuckle draggers doing that.
Yeah, but that's a theme on today's show, idiot knuckle dragger douchebag fans.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
That's what there's a lot.
It's kind of what we do here in America.
I know. Yeah, but come on, let's not act like in Europe they're that much better. As a matter of fact,
the hooligans and such?
Dude, they're way worse in many respects.
Depends on the sport.
Yeah. I think if you look at soccer. Are cricket fans all wild? I don't know. Cricket's a really popular sport. I don't know anything about it. But.
I think actually there are cricket brawls in like India, I think.
Yeah, see, we don't really have brawls like to that level.
No, we have people punching each other to death in NFL stadiums. Yeah, that's usually what we get. And it's not they're big team brawls, but like people get hurt and knocked out every week.
I feel like
at
we
NFL
have
stadiums.
just a bunch of dum-dums.
Yeah, well, that's
But
that's
it's not,
for sure.
It's not all of us. But,
The sport attracts them somehow.
I know. Well, it's sports.
Sports tribalism of it. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that will be a theme on today's show. There's a lot going on. I was just looking before I got here. There is actually a rumor. I'll just tease this because this is not what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk about court storming next. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's more fans.
Yes.
Which I'm going to have a very, I think, what would be the word? I don't know if my opinion on court storming is going to be unpopular, but I'm guessing it's in the minority.
Okay.
Because doesn't it seem like the right thing to do is just ban court storming, right? It seems like that's the right thing to do.
So I don't know. Maybe you and I are going to be closer than we would anticipate.
Okay.
Because I listen. I don't think it's about like let the college kids have all the fun. But I'm like, how? Okay, we'll get into it.
Yes, we are going to get into that.
But I'm kind of okay with the court storming a little bit. Yeah.
You know what? I am too. Just to go ahead and reveal our stance on this. But we'll get into that next. And then after that, I'll tell you, I saw the latest in college football realignment.
Oh.
Okay, see, these college football realignment things, you can never predict them, right? Like, it's like, after you see them and you digest them, they make sense, but you never see them coming. This is one, and it's a big one, that you will not see coming. Now, I will preface this by saying it comes from a radio host in the Midwest/South, not Paul Feinbaum, and it's so who knows how much legitimacy there is to this, but I tell you, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. That is coming up as well.
That's a tease.
This hour. Is that a good tease? I think that's a good tease.
When I don't know what you're talking about, I think that's a good tease.
You haven't seen that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, see, it's not being widely reported yet. So maybe it's just one of those...
Adds to the intrigue.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of one of those social media things that you see, and a radio host said it, and it could be total bullsh. But I tell you, there could be legs to it, too, if you think about it. So that's coming up this hour, and might I get in some golf talk?
Golf talk?
With Anthony Kim coming back. Did you see that? Anthony Kim will be back on Live this week.
I saw that. I also saw that, I haven't dug into it yet, but I saw that John Rahm did a long sit-down with Marty Smith.
Yes, yeah. The richest man in sports, John Rahm.
Is that right?
Well...
Close?
No, but...
Richest man in golf?
I'm going to go ahead and walk that back. 3, what did he get?
He's way up there. I mean, I thought initially he turned down 4. I don't know what he ended up taking from him.
I thought it was like $300 million.
Yeah, I thought when he first turned it down that it was 4, but...
okay, maybe it's $500 million, like 3 years or something. Like, dude, the guy, I mean, he's got to be up there. I mean, I know some of those soccer guys are super rich and they've been at it longer.
While some media outlets valued the deal at $600 million, ESPN said Rahm's LIV contract is expected to be more than 3 years and worth more than $300 million.
Yeah, 3 years, $300 million. So he gets $100 million a year. So by annual salary, nobody makes that, do they?
I wouldn't
No,
think so.
That's got to be
there because I don't think there's a soccer player making that. Maybe is Max Verstappen making that? I don't know.
I don't know if they pay him that, but he probably with endorsements
and stuff. But just the contract from the league or from the sport, probably nobody finer than John Rahm right now.
Well, guys, we have a little golf talk. So Big Sue will be back tomorrow on our show. We'll be out at X Golf Tualatin, and it is the Bryan Brothers, Spartan Bro on the Vancouver Ford text line points out. It's not the Jansons. It was the Bryan Brothers. Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. VancouverFord.com. Court storming, that's the subject of the poll question. We'll get to that next to kick off the show on The Fan.
It's the Vancouver Ford text line.
Plenty of time. on X today at 1080 The Fan. That's where you find it. It's brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling Family Business, helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com. Today, very simple poll question because we had drama over the weekend. Fan court storming. What say you? 2 options. It's dope or ban it. Vote hard. I was just checking because I put it up there 20 minutes ago or so. So early on, I wanted to see what people were saying. Get a pulse of the people.
Early returns say?
It's dope.
It's dope.
Yeah, 53% dope.
But very close.
47% ban it. So maybe my opinion and your opinion will not be as... what would be the word? Would not be as... in the minority.
Yeah.
As maybe I thought. Because I think I'm going to sound just like a fan, you know? Because, I mean, all of the... So if you didn't see it, Duke, Wake Forest beats them. Fans storm the court. Filipkowski, the big dude for Duke, hurts his knee. He gets hit by a fan. He stumbles. I mean, I say hit. They collided. He shoved the kid. Stumbles a little bit, hurts his knee. I haven't seen anything on the severity of it. Have you?
Not yet, no. And I don't know if this is going to be considered a hot take. When I look at that video, it looks like to me like he's winding up to push that kid before that kid even makes contact with him.
I agree with that, but I'm okay with that.
And yeah, I mean, if he's trying to make sure he's getting out of there, fine.
That's right.
But before the injury gets sustained, he looks like he's going to take a shot at a kid that's sprinting by him.
No,
to me,
I agree with that, but I also think that he has every right. If he feels like that guy's barreling down on him, dude, that's what you get. You're storming the court. If a player knocks your ass out or over,
that's part of it.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. He shouldn't. Filipkowski, or is that his name? Filipkowski. Filipkowski.
Is it? Yeah, I think that's right.
Filipkowski. He shouldn't be punished for that. And so
I would agree.
I don't even think that matters. He did shove the kid. He did shove the kid down. I don't think. I've heard people saying that. You know, they thought the kid was going right at him. I don't think he was. I think he accidentally ran into him, and then of course he got to taunting because he saw a Duke player.
I thought the kid was beelining towards the middle of the court where the court storming always happens.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden there's a Duke player right in front of him.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a lot of calculation to
and
this.
he gave him a little, looked like he gave him a little look or something, like he taunted him on his way by, but then ultimately he got the worst end of it, which I have no problem with any of that. Like, look, that's the same thing about football. We've talked about this with Autzen. I think it happened, right? Oregon beats USC, a bunch of people jump on the field, and I thought it was some Oregon fan got clocked by some USC player or whatever it was, but it's going to happen. I actually think, and we'll get to this later, but I think that storming the field in football is worse perhaps than storming the court in basketball. But I just feel like every talking head or every analyst all across the country today talking about this, they were on their shows saying the same things. And that is, you got to ban court storming because that's the groupthink of it. And
it has been banned other places already.
Well, and
other conferences.
You get fines. Yeah. I mean, they're supposed to fine you. They're supposed to fine the school for
it. Isn't the SEC? It's like $100K.
It is, but look, the schools want. They don't.
Do you think the people storming the court care what that fine is?
Oh God, no. As a matter of fact, in the end, I think that if you banned court storming, I actually don't think it would be effective. I think they would do it anyway.
No, what you would end up having to do, I think it's only the places where they're able to successfully curb it, it's just because they've hired more crowd management. That's because they want to avoid those fines. And I do think there are some conferences where, is it the Big 12 now, where the coaches are running into the stands because they can't run on I've seen, who was it, the Kansas State coach or the TCU coach the other day ran into the stands to go celebrate, and some players did too because they weren't supposed to court storm. That was like part of it. So I don't know if we're getting like a changing of the momentum here, but in general, I'm with you. I don't think it's I also think that it happens so infrequently. It's just not a big deal.
I know. I couldn't agree more.
Who can you name anyone who was ever severely injured from a court storming?
No.
I can't name one.
I can't either.
I can think of I can barely think of times like players have been knocked over or whatever. It's hardly an issue of player safety for anyone.
It is wild how few incidents have occurred. As often as court storming has happened, there really aren't that many incidents.
No.
Now, you have 2 high-profile ones this season because you have Caitlin Clark and a Duke star player.
Yeah, correct.
And by the way, Caitlin Clark flopped. and she's fine. That was not a thing. This guy twisted his knee. I'm waiting for an update on. I mean, it looked like he twisted his knee. I don't know. Maybe they just bumped knees and he's fine. I'm not sure. But it's not. It doesn't seem like it's a major injury, right?
You wouldn't think so, but also by them coming out and saying, it's fine, then they lose a little steam in their argument.
Right. But, I mean, it's Duke. Like, this is classic Duke.
Very much so.
It happened to us, so ban it. Certain programs don't storm the court, right? Like, I mean, I'm a Kansas fan. We don't really storm the court. Blue Bloods,
Duke probably doesn't either.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, the Blue Bloods don't do it, so of course they hate it. It oftentimes happens to them if they lose on the road. And by the way,
frequently happens to them even when they're not good, just because they're Blue Bloods.
Kansas had one at Kansas State a couple of years ago where Bill Self got caught. I think he went down and got caught in a scrum, and he came out after the game and was like, you got to ban court storming. I didn't even agree with him. I love that guy. That guy's my hero. And I didn't agree with that. If you weigh the overall risk here, I just don't think it's that bad.
I don't either. And
I also think players are generally able to get out of there. If
people know what the score is, they know what's up.
They know what's up. Get out of there, and guys do. And girl, and they storm the court too. The players have gotten off, for the most part, just fine. So if we're saying that what happened with Philip Kowski and Caitlin Clark is enough to ban it, okay. I disagree with that, but okay. I see where you're going. It's like it's easier to just say, you know what? A couple of bad situations have happened or could have happened, and so therefore you can no longer do it.
Additionally, I mean, I do think that court storming and field storming is too abundant. Too many student bodies and too many schools are doing it after wins that aren't that impressive. But when you beat a top 10 Duke team, that's not the case. So,
but if we're saying something worse is going to happen, if that's what you're saying, that's where I question it. Like if you're saying, okay, what's happened so far isn't enough to ban court storming, but something worse
what we're afraid of
to happen. Yeah, what we're afraid of is. I would ask you, what do you think is like what? You think someone's gonna die? No one's gonna die. Like what? So there's a risk in a lot of things we do in life as a collective, and I just how many times has something seriously bad happened in 50 to 60 to 70 years of this? I can't even remember one instance. So if you're saying someone might die, by all means ban it. If not, I don't know. I think the risk here might be worth stomaching. And the key here is court storming is awesome. It's really fun for the kids.
Mm-hmm. It looks great on TV for the product.
Schools love it. They want it for their fans. Fans love it. And it's one of the coolest visuals in all of sports.
And it really hasn't proven to be dangerous at any point throughout the history of the sports.
That's right. Well, damn, I wanted to disagree with you on this.
Well, you could disagree with the Vancouver Ford text line. How about that?
Okay.
This text says, court storming is freaking trespassing. Try bum rushing any other place of entertainment. Try it at a concert, a casino, a movie theater.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, technically true, but not even remotely in a sense that it's part of the college environment.
Yeah.
And
it's also, the fact that winning and losing is involved. Like that, you don't win or lose at a concert. You don't upset someone at a concert like that, or at the movies. Right. Like you don't get surprised that the villain got taken down at the end and everyone goes nuts.
They don't really do this in pro sports. Although I did see one.
That is true.
I saw one in the NBA back in the 80s with Larry Bird, like the Celtics. Or it
did used to happen back then, huh?
I don't know who it was. I just saw the clip in passing. And somebody said, here's Larry Bird demonstrating how to get off the court when fans storm. I thought it was in Boston, but it wouldn't have been because he played for Boston. Or maybe they won the game, the Celtics won, and the fans absolutely bum rushed the court. And he is he is linebackering, Terry Tating his way out of there. Those are his own fans, I think.
Yeah, I remember seeing this clip. It's almost like Hank Aaron swatting off the two kids when he's circling the bases, but like times 20.
Yeah, I just don't have a huge problem with it. I think that we're overreacting. Like I said, I feel like everybody's going to come out today and say, ban it, ban it, ban it. And is it the worst thing if it's banned? No. But I also believe that if you do ban it, you're still going to get it.
For sure.
You're still going to get it. And the other thing is, you either got to bag it or put up with it. I don't think, I've heard some people suggest, you can let players and coaches, give them, 20 seconds, 30 seconds to get off the court. and then let the kids jump onto the court.
That's a nice idea in theory. That's
Yeah.
not going to work in execution.
I don't think you can legislate chaos like that.
I mean, in theory, people aren't supposed to come on the court at all in some places, and so you putting a 15-second clock up there isn't going to do a whole
right.
lot.
Well, I also just don't think. I think the second you increase security, and try to get the opposing team off before, I think you may be even causing more problems. Because now you've got, no, we want to storm. No, you got to wait, and now you got even more issues. So, and like I said, I'm half inclined to think students will do it even if you ban it. Mm-hmm. So I have no
Maybe
problem.
More likely to do it if you ban it.
Yeah, I have no problem with court storming. I know it's a big topic. Poor Duke, but whatever, get over it. And I just don't think anything really bad is going to happen. Now, the second it does,
different conversation, but it hasn't happened.
If it does, you can throw it back in my face. But I don't see where something major occurs, and certainly don't see someone dying. No one cares about the fans. By the way, the fans are jumping out there at their own risk too. What if some kid blows out an ACL jumping up and down like that?
I'm sure it's happened. We just don't hear about it because they're not athletes.
Well, no one cares.
Right.
Yeah.
No one cares that Johnny's going to miss his econ midterm because he had to have, his foot re-repaired.
Right. Well, vote on our poll question. It's up there. AAA Heating and Cooling. It is pinned to the top of our profile. Fan court storming. What say you? It's dope or ban it. Right now, it's running about 50-50.
It's kind of dope.
A little north of 50% say it's dope. Just under say ban it. So we'll keep you posted on that. Get some texts in on that. And boy, I tell you what, man. College football realignment. It just won't stop. The latest is pretty juicy. We'll get to that next. Here's Buck. court storming text. Vancouver Ford text line. Our friend John Bertrand says, if you like court storming, let the other team get off the floor. Well, they do.
It's a hard thing to control because it's momentum based.
Right.
It's not like
they do kids are not going out there preventing the other.
They're not detaining the opposing team.
It's you got to be careful because, like you said, that Wake Forest one, it was pretty aggressive, right? Some of them aren't quite as they're not jumping all on the floor at the same time, and it's a slow bleed.
It depends on the orientation of the arenas, like how close the student section is.
That one was pretty. They were coming pretty hard.
Yeah,
on that one. But generally speaking, players get off the floor just fine. That's my whole point. Coaches and players. We just haven't had many incidents. How many court storms have there been? How many?
I think, frankly, there are kind of a lot. And the fact that we can't name a single significant injury tells you that they're not very dangerous. Another text here saying, police, to your point, cannot fight back while they have to allow for a free-for-all, but this is a good thing. I think people are taking it as if this is already a violent act. It's a collective and kind of frenzied celebration. It's not a bunch of angry people throwing haymakers. You're not in a mosh pit at a Tool concert. It's not like that.
Yeah, for two concerns, back-to-back texts. One says they could get into fights. It's never happened.
Do they?
Not once.
Have they been getting into fights?
It's never happened. No. The other one says the concern has always been court storming will lead to a melee. Or a malice in the palace 2.0. Again, has not happened. Why are we just jumping to ban things when your fear is far outweighs the actual reality of what has occurred? That has never happened. Now the NBA did. Well, it wasn't a court storming thing. It was, pro sports are a little bit different. I saw somebody, I think it was Austin Rivers, said, "Hey, you storm the court in an NBA game. There's some NBA bros that are going to lay out some fans." And there is no joke to that. That is
for
true.
Sure. We've seen it happen.
And so it's just, but it's not a thing in the NBA. So why are we even talking about that? Those concerns they're just not valid. So.
Yeah. Another text here says, I don't think individuals are violent. Mobs, however, flip cars over. We haven't seen people storming the court.
I don't think
destroy their home floor and flip over the press table and take down the basket stanchions.
Something tells me, Ryan, they're not getting it.
I guess not.
They're not getting it. You guys are not. None of that is happening.
Yesterday, a fan or a student fan and a player collided, and it was bad for the student player.
Well, and it was Duke.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. If that's a Rutgers player...
It was a bummer of an incident, but it's not worth changing anything
if they beat Rutgers, they're not storming the court. But Duke player, we must change everything. Get out of here. All right, the latest in college football realignment. Now, I don't know how much validity there is to this, but it sure does make sense when you think about it. And it is. And it's a doozy. Are you ready? Are you guys sitting down?
I am.
Are you in your cars? Turn up your radios. I'm even going to play something here.
Who did that song, Turn Up the Radio? Is that Rat?
No. That's a great tune. I want to say that's Y&T.
See if I can find it.
Can you look that up?
Yeah.
Is that Y&T? I don't know. Anyway, the latest college football realignment rumor, and it is a rumor, started on the radio in the South. Texas A&M to the Big Ten.
What? I did not hear or see this.
Now, you're going to go, wait a minute, what? What is that? That makes no sense. Well,
what is that? That makes no sense.
Here's what they're saying about that. And this is just coming from, some radio host who has heard this. But tell me how plausible you think this is. Texas A&M hates that Texas is joining the SEC. They hate it. They're the ones that moved to get away from Texas. And now Texas is in their league. And there's probably a little sour grapes there because Texas A&M hasn't done squat.
But we've known this is coming for years.
Well, a couple years, yeah. But there's also one thing that's changed. If you're saying that there's nothing new on this front, well, it kind of is. I mean, Texas is now jumping into the SEC. But the other thing that's changed is that the Big Ten actually gets more money.
Yeah.
So A&M A&M would actually
But the Big Ten also has 18 teams now.
right. But A&M
So we're at a 19th?
well, yeah, dude. What are you not reading on the tea leaves?
Obviously, we're going to two super conferences.
We're going to two 38,000 team conferences here.
It's probably going to be two 32-team conferences.
Right.
Well,
And
maybe it'll start with 20 each, and then it'll get to 32 each,
Like,
and then we'll have divisions. Yeah.
It's not stopping because the Big Ten and the SEC are going to now compete.
We're going to funnel to a more natural playoff. That's how this is going.
So A&M will make more money if they jump to the Big Ten. It appears they are not happy with the SEC adding Texas. And, the Big Ten, as this report stated, the Big Ten hits the SEC in the mouth in their little battle for supremacy, right? I mean, make no mistake, everybody, like from our perspective, because we're out in Pac-12 country, we're talking about this like the Big Ten and the SEC are the two powers. They're set, they're good, and then everybody else is scrambling. What we failed to maybe to admit as much or see is that the Big Ten and the SEC are battling for supremacy as well. That is not over. It's not over. And you have to be proactive in this whole thing, as we've talked about many times. So, very interesting rumor that if A&M were to jump to the Big Ten, well, now you got to get somebody else.
You got to get another team.
Yeah.
Who are you going to add?
Well, Beavers?
Cougs?
Who'd you take, the Beavers or the Cougs? You got to take the Beavs, don't you?
Ooh.
Over the Cougs?
I mean, as an Oregon fan, I think it's nice to bring your rival along. I don't really know from like an institution standpoint who would be more valuable to the conference. I'm trying to think across the board, across all athletics. Obviously, the Beavs have great baseball, but
that's a tough one if you had to choose. But I don't.
Dickert's still at Washington State, right?
Yeah, I don't think they would choose. It would probably be one of those where it's like, okay, let's add 4.
Well,
and then you get those two.
So then who's the fourth? Because you're adding A&M.
I don't know. But it's just absurd. We continue to talk about this. And by the way, a text coming in on this. Turn up the radio. That's by
Autograph.
Autograph. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that out.
Do you remember Y&T though?
I feel like we've had this discussion before.
A great '80s rock band.
It's
not
great, the letter Y and an ampersand and the letter T. Is that correct? Y and T?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I know them.
Yeah. Well, you probably shouldn't. But I remember them because I had their tape.
Big cassette guy.
Big cassette guy, yeah. A&M can't handle the SEC smoke. It says one text. Little brother running away from big brother yet again. Well, kind of, yeah.
Kind of, yeah. That's not inaccurate.
Well, Texas and Oklahoma.
That to me seems so pathetic, if that's really what's behind it. We don't like that this school that's historically been better than us is following us to the same conference, so we're leaving. That's really lame if that's like how this is actually playing out.
Well, I agree. I mean, A&M looks bad because when they jumped from the Big 12 to the SEC, that was seen as a big coup. They haven't done S in the SEC. And now if that, if all the, again, just rumor here, but if that actually happens and A&M bolts again, you babies.
Yes.
Like, they haven't done anything over there. And they're, and they get a lifeline to get more money. Like that's, I don't know, that's got to make you, I don't know, as a Beaver and a Coug fan, you got to hate that. But
big time.
That's a big time school though, A&M, and but they're
but
overrated.
They're underachievers.
They're overrated.
Yeah, they're overrated or they're underachieving.
Great place to see a game though.
So I've heard.
But yeah. So who knows if this is true? But what the one residual, if A&M were to jump to the Big Ten and leave the SEC, that opens a spot for guess who? Florida State in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And we all know Florida State is desperately trying to get out of the ACC.
Well, why doesn't the Big Ten just grab the Florida State with the A&M and say, we'll add those two?
They should.
Do it.
They should. And maybe they are. We just haven't heard about it yet. Again, these things are very unpredictable. And then you have Clemson. They'll get out of the ACC.
I say we, as if the Big Ten is a conference I've been in for years. Yeah, we could take them too.
Maybe Oregon State and Washington State should take Texas A&M and Florida State.
You'll go with them, you mean? Like do a 4-pack or just take them on?
Yeah, take them. And then the empire begins. You got to have the Saudi money.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. The new Pac-12. Texas
live
A&M.
football.
A&M and Clemson and Florida State, Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State.
All the states.
Maybe a little Fresno State. I don't know. Of course, I'm joking. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I saw that nugget today, and I thought, that does make a lot of sense because A&M's always butthurt about what Texas does.
It seems like they're always butthurt about everything, but especially what Texas does.
Yeah, they get a little too big for their britches. So I could totally see them jump into the Big Ten, but I also think that would be good for the Big Ten because again, down in and the Big Ten already has some schools in Texas, don't they? Wait,
no.
I was thinking of Texas Tech. They're Big 12.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Yeah, they jump into Texas. That's huge for the Big Ten.
Oh yeah, you would want to if you can. Yeah.
So they would want A&M. But I think it's going to be interesting, and this is a whole other conversation for another day, but I think it's going to be interesting what Texas and Oklahoma are going to do in the SEC long term.
Big time. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I've thought about that and not wondered how. I mean, they have built up their own profile and their own prestige based on what they've done in the Big 12 conference, which, I mean, it's produced national champions out of that conference, but we've all agreed for a little while now that SEC is a different tier and caliber of conference. Do schools and their cachet like Texas and Oklahoma hold up when you go to a place where they play big boy football?
It'd be interesting to see. A&M didn't. The other, Tex brings up a good point, text line there. Notre Dame. Forgot about them. They'll probably join a conference soon.
They would.
Probably Big Ten.
They keep abstaining from doing that because it keeps working for them. I don't know how long it can work for them to not join a conference.
Right. Yeah, I think we all think they're eventually going to have to with the college football playoff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there you go. Texas A&M, Notre Dame, boom.
Okay.
Now you're at. Are you at 20 now in the Big Ten?
You would be at 20.
The Big 20.
The Big 20.
And the SEC gets
the big dub.
Florida State and Clemson. Does that put them at 20, or how many do they have? I've lost count.
I don't know. You can only keep track of so much.
What a mess. All right. First, KD is called a bitch.
Yeah.
And now this. These fans, I tell you, it's 348 on the Fan.
The
You know what? I'm going to be adding this to my Spotify playlist. Spotify. This is a great tune.
Well, if your playlist is good, you should call it your Spotify playlist.
You know, I should. You're right. Spotify. Get it? Yeah, this is a good song. I'd forgotten about it.
It's kind of a cut.
Turn up the radio. By the way, you guys and your bad arguments. Somebody bringing up LeGarrette Blount. Now we're kind of bouncing around topics here, but we were talking about court storming, and LeGarrette Blount of the dunks on my Spotify.
Yeah, put some dunks on your Spotify.
He punched a former player or another player.
If
right?
it's the incident that is the Blunt incident, yeah, he punched another player, and I think maybe as he was getting dragged away, pushed a fan or something. But like,
there was almost a fan incident. I think as he was going up the tunnel, I think there was something that almost happened with the fan. Didn't.
Yeah, I think you're right. But again, this was over a decade ago, and nothing happened to anyone.
Yeah, again, you know, look, if you think that it comes down to this, if you want to stay on the argument of ban it because it's too dangerous, I get it. I understand why you might think that. I actually don't think it's that dangerous, and the proof is in the pudding.
Right.
However,
and like you said, if it gets to the point that it is, we can change it then.
If you believe that, just at least admit there's some fear-mongering going on here. You're basing it all off of fear-mongering because your argument of trying to bring up examples, it just doesn't fly. They're just not there. So just admit that it's fear-mongering.
Yeah, this person on the text line says, like my therapist says, that is a problem for the future. They call it future tripping. It's like you're getting tripped up on something that might happen later.
Correct.
And then now you're administering potentially a rule based on something that hypothetically would happen and hasn't happened yet.
Right. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? By the way, a couple people also bringing up, you know, if the ACC starts to crumble, which it will.
Yes.
Florida State, Clemson.
It's a dadgum mistake.
That's where the Beavers and the Cougs end up.
Okay.
Over there with Cal and Stanford. That's probably what they're banking on.
Unless it's a crumbling conference that is going to go by the wayside and to the two super conferences, you know what I mean? Like if we are eventually going to a two super conference model, then the ACC and the Big 12 are going to be done eventually anyways, right?
Done?
Well, like if we're going to a massive two super conference model, SEC Big 10,
I mean
32 and 32.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that's a ways off, but
I don't know how
you still grab that life raft if you're Oregon State or Washington State.
I don't know what it's going to look like. I have no idea. But yes, if Oregon State and Washington State have a chance to get into the ACC, they better jump at it.
Yes.
Because right now they got nothing except for the Saudis.
Well, we don't even know if they have that.
Where were we? Oh, fan behavior. This will go somewhat hand in hand with court storming, although, again, I think fans are largely pretty cool when it comes to court storming. I mean, they're just, they just get out there to celebrate. And they got their, kids are more concerned. Again, these court storming fans, they're all college kids. Remember that, too. They're not disgruntled, old, fat, drunk, sports fans whose life's going down the toilet.
Some of them might be fat and drunk, but they're not old enough to have
exactly
some real issues behind
it. They're just college kids. Did you see that Wake Forest video? They're all filming it. Like their big thing is they're filming themselves with their phone so they can put it on the Insta.
Yeah, so they'll have this Insta memory forever.
Dude, they ain't going after guys' knees. Okay. At any rate, more. So we were talking last week about Kevin Durant, those Mavs fans calling Kevin Durant a bitch.
But hey, I have a podcast. Will you come on my podcast?
Yeah, so he goes over. This is before the Mavs game. He goes over there. He's like, "What'd you say?" And she's like, "Oh, no, all good, dude."
And that was so cringe. She tried to dap him up for like 10 seconds, just left her hanging.
And then the dude's like, "Yeah, man, I'm in sports. I have a podcast. You want to come on the podcast?"
At which point Durant visibly waves him off.
Like, look, fans are awful. Like, if that's your point, like, that's the best point yet. I just thought of it for you for the ban court storming. Fans are just awful. So because of that, ban everything. If that's your point, that's probably the best point. But this one pertains to golf, and it's just fans, unruly fans in golf is becoming a thing. Waste Management, Phoenix Open, anyone?
Yeah.
And now this. And that will be next. We'll also have our stockwatch coming up. It is 3:58 on the fan.
I'm Aaron.
and Soup on 1080 The Fan.
Oh, well, we got a little late breaking news here. Right on the scroll there on ESPN. Commissioners plan to address court storming at a meeting tomorrow. That's from Brett Yormark at Big 12 Commish. Here we go. This guy says, classic Americans react after the inevitable happens. Prevention just makes sense. Preventing an injury? What are we preventing?
We don't know what we're preventing because nothing like that has happened yet.
This guy's like, I enjoy all the outrage about court storming because someone could get hurt. Meanwhile, our gun issue still exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic Americans
Won't
react.
anyone think of the young kids? Oh, wait.
Yeah, react after the inevitable happens. The inevitable is another damn shooting is coming probably today or tomorrow or Wednesday. We won't do a damn thing about it. What is that guy even talking about?
Probably all of the above.
So get out of here with that. Done talking to you court storming babies. I love it. Let him storm. And by the way, yes, if a kid jumps in a guy's face and he gets popped, LeGarrette Blount style, good.
The problem is they can't say, well, these things have a way of sorting themselves out. Like they can't, because then they'll say, oh, they planted the seed for athletes to go ahead and take matters into their own hands. So even though we can agree that societally, this would probably just figure itself out, no one can just say that.
Yeah, you can't say, oh, players have every right to pop all the. Yeah, well, if they
listen,
do,
players will defend themselves, so will the students, everything will be fine. Like, if you just say that, then the next time someone gets hit, there's a lawsuit because, like, the governing body okayed this.
Man. Oh, our outrage. More Unruly sports fans news. I want to get to this before we get to our stockwatch next. And this comes to us from Gav. And, this isn't the worst thing in the world, but I saw this and thought it was kind of sad, really. And this is according to the Palm Beach Post. Do you remember when Tiger Woods' kid Charlie, who is only 15, last week was trying to qualify for some big tournament? I don't know. I didn't really follow it.
I do remember that. I think that, if he performed well enough in it, he could earn a U.S. Open invite or something like that?
Something like that. It was a big tournament. A lot of,
but I think it was essentially his first pro tournament, right?
A lot of really good players had won it in the past, and so everybody's like already corkscrewing Charlie Woods into Tiger's path, and who knows? I don't know. Charlie Woods probably gonna be a pretty damn good golfer, but hard to say. He's so young. At any rate, according to the Palm Beach Post, a large gallery of fans became unruly while following Charlie Woods on the course. They said fans would head into the bushes hoping to grab a souvenir after Charlie's ball went missing. So Charlie, he had a rough day. I think he shot like an 85 or an 86.
He was like 12 over or something like that.
Yeah. So if his ball was a little offline into the woods, fans were trying to grab it, take it for their own. Fans ignored requests from officials and then got mouthy with them after being told to stay on the cart path. They would get too close to Charlie, who had his own security detail and a sheriff. I hate that for him. That sucks.
It's terrible.
And then it says, a fan demanded an autograph from Charlie on a Tiger Woods How I Play Golf book during play. And a grandmother pulled her granddaughter out of school to join a pack of 50 fans on the back nine. Well,
What? Okay, that doesn't belong in this same story.
Why did that get
One
put
of these things is not like the other one.
Grandma? Great grandma. She's great.
Yeah, she's spreading the game of golf with the youth. Forget about grandma. She's fine.
Right. Let's go watch Charlie. Anyway, none of that's major, but it's just,
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just like pushing boundaries,
And it's unfortunately now what the Woods family in these tournaments need to expect and probably be prepared for. Like, you're going to have some marshals go around and make sure that it stinks because you should be able to just go out and see this kid come into his own without having to worry about that. But here we are.
Yeah. He has his own security. I didn't know that. That kind of sucks. Did you see that Cam Newton fight?
Yeah.
Where was that? That was some sort of youth.
Oh, I bet you we talk about it tonight on Recruiting with Andrew Nemec because I believe it was a 7-on-7 high school camp or like a 7-on-7 competition.
What was he doing there?
I believe he was involved in it in some way, either has a team or he was helping put on the event or something. It appears that it may have been a beef between like a rival team who wanted to like show him and his team what's up.
Oh
Just really pathetic.
Here we go again.
High school sports behavior.
Yeah. Dads.
Yeah.
Douchebag sports dads.
Yeah. Want to be like, my kid's the next greatest thing, and I'm not going to let this old pro bum step to us and that sort of thing.
Well, he handled his own.
Boy, and how.
If you've seen the video,
He took on like 6 dudes
Yeah.
and never went to the ground.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
and you can't miss him because he's got that weird witch's hat on.
Yeah, he looks like he belongs in the musical Wicked.
Yeah.
It's like a tall witch's hat. It really is.
Yeah, and he's way bigger than all the other guys. And then he never goes to the ground. It doesn't really, the video of it, you can't really see what ends up happening or what instigated it.
Well, because it must have happened so quick, people were getting their phones up late. Like it was already happening by the time people started recording. And there are 2 different angles of it, but in both of them, you can see at least 3 people attempting to attack Cam Newton and him holding off multiple people while still holding off others. He's like tosses one dude into the bushes. They kind of get tackled a little bit off the stage, although somehow Cam maintains his footing.
Is it really a fight if no punches are thrown, though?
I think that they attempted to sucker punch Cam, though.
Did they?
I think at the very beginning of the video, it looks like they're trying to hit him.
It looks to me like more of a skirmish, as it were. Yeah, this guy's right. Grandma was trying to get Charlie to notice her granddaughter there.
Smart.
She was trying to strike it rich. A little love affair on the 15th fairway there. This text says, Cam's a coach. He put out a tweet saying he'd pay $100,000 to each player that beats his team. Then his team went and lost the first round of that tournament.
Oh, so he supposedly owed hundreds of thousands of dollars to these kids?
Oh, dear. Those guys wanted their money.
Yeah, this other text saying, my understanding is that Cam coaches a 7-on-7 team, and that happened at a tournament. That's what I had seen as well. I was not aware of the previous, you can't beat us, and I'll give you a cash prize if you do.
Well, I don't typically root for Cam Newton. I'm not a huge fan. But in this instance, short of him totally instigating it with 6 dudes, which he probably didn't do, but maybe he did.
Yeah, in this case,
I'm on his side.
One of the rare times I'd say go Cam.
All right, coming up next, I want to talk about Anthony Kim, but we'll have to wait until later. You know, for you golf fans, Anthony Kim, to me, was the coolest guy in golf besides Tiger Woods. Loved Anthony Kim.
He was a vibe.
Dude, he was such a vibe. And he was a lot of fun for golf, and he was a lot of fun for the U.S. Ryder Cup team.
And he went off a cliff.
Yeah, and so his story is a wild one, but he is back now. He's going to be competing this week with the Live Bros. They threw a bag of cash at him, and we'll get to that later. But up next is our Primetime Stockwatch, what we're buying and selling from the weekend in sports on 1080 The Fan.
Play golf. Primetime Stockwatch is brought to you by 1-800-DIVORCE. When you need to take stock of your rights, 1-800-DIVORCE is on your side. Call 1-800-DIVORCE today.
Hey, tomorrow's show going to be out at X Golf Tualatin, and it was. Wait, we have to correct the correction. It was the Jensen brothers, not the Bryan brothers. The Jensen brothers, the tennis brothers, who pronounced it Tualatin on the radio. That's our final answer on that. At any rate, X Golf Tualatin. I wonder if Mike Barrett will be showing up, and if Mike Barrett is showing up, will we talk MLB to Portland? Redtail Golf Course acquisition. You know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Or will he duck us? That's the question. So that show, 3 to 7 tomorrow, and all the bros will be golfing noon to 3, Vancouver X Golf with Danny and Dusty for the Winter Golf Classic, and then we'll have bros golfing at X Golf Tualatin 3 to 7. It's going to be fun. It's the first time we've ever done this Winter Golf Classic, and the winner... I believe the winner gets a foursome into our Summer Golf Classic at Langdon.
And then doesn't the dead last loser get free lessons?
That's right.
Yeah.
We're going to give you lessons.
That's a nice little perk. If you really suck, come on out here. We'll get you better.
So that'll be tomorrow. Suk will be back. He's in New Orleans. He'll be back tomorrow on the show. So right now, let's get to Buck. He's got our stockwatch prepared.
Well, this has been bandied about quite a bit, but let's hear first from Duke head coach Jon Scheyer.
Oh, God.
I'm more concerned about the well-being of our guys. You know, Flip sprains his ankle. When are we going to ban court storming? Like, when are we going to ban that? Like, how many times does a player have to get into something where they get punched or they get pushed or they get taunted right in their face? And it's a dangerous thing. You look around the country and Caitlin Clark, something happens. And now Flip, I don't know what his status is going to be. He sprains his ankle. And it's one thing, like, when I played, at least it was 10 seconds in the court, you would storm the court. Now it's the buzzer doesn't even go off and they're running on the floor. And this has happened to us a bunch this year. It's part of it. We need to be better. We need to learn from this. That needs to stop.
All right. Well, aside from Jon Scheyer being a whiny bitch,
Well, imagine if it were Coach K.
We've discussed whether we think this should continue or not, whether it should be outlawed or not. You and I think it's fine going on until something bad happens. Now that we know that there's a meeting happening about this, buy or sell that we will see new rules put into place for court storming before the end of the season.
Buy. They're already saying they're going to meet tomorrow. All the commissioners are getting together tomorrow.
So what do you think they will ban it across all power conferences, or what do you think they're going to do?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm going to buy your stock. First of all, Coach K. If that were Coach K, it would have been 10 times what Scheyer just said.
It would have been more scathing and shame on you. And
oh yes, we're the worst. And like you said,
what is wrong with us today?
The piousness that would have come from Coach K. But I don't know. There's a lot of holes you can tear in his argument there. Okay, so he said, I jotted down little notes as he was talking. That little clip. He said, when I played, it was 10 seconds. What is he? What is he talking about?
I had the same reaction. There might have been a time where they said no one on the court until 10 seconds after the game, but I don't ever remember that being a thing.
Well, if that's the case and that worked,
then do that.
Do that. I mean, what are we even arguing about then? Like, I don't think that's right. I don't know what he's talking about. I think he's full of crap, trying to just help his argument, like most of the people on the text line. But if that's a thing, then do that. Jeez. Second, he said punched, pushed, taunted. You might get taunted. It's
sports,
fine.
Dude.
You're a big boy.
To.
You just got beat.
You play for Duke. You don't think you're going to get trolled a little bit?
Punched and pushed. Okay, punched has never happened. Yeah, not one time.
When was the last Duke player you saw punched in a game?
Not one time has that happened. But okay, if you think that society is just degrading to the point where all of a sudden everybody's going to start throwing haymakers, okay, live in fear, whatever. Pushed, Caitlin Clark got pushed.
Kind of.
A little bit. Yeah. She flopped. She was fine.
She got run into, basically.
This guy, Filipowski, he got kind of pushed, but he shoved the kid down. He shoved the kid down, and he had every right to do that. So he totally is over. Like, I get it. It's his player, and he's trying to protect his players. But good grief, man. I just think we are totally over inflating the amount of damage that's done during court storming. It happens all the time, court storming. And
WTF are we even doing here?
Good grief.
I do think this is one of the more measured texts of the day. It says, hey guys, regarding court storming, I think what people are responding to is we've become a society about foreseeability with respect to liability.
Yeah.
And at some point, I think their thinking is that some player is going to have their NBA career ruined by being collided with by a fan. I don't know where I stand on it, but I think that's where people's perception's coming from.
Okay, maybe.
And I do think that that's part of it, but again, hasn't happened yet. Let's move on. Not too far from college, NBA analyst Charles Barkley, he doesn't think college kids should be coming out as early.
I wish a lot of these kids would learn their lesson, and just because your family and friends are freeloaders and trying to get to your bank account, you don't have to leave school early.
Well, he left high school.
That's still wrong.
Crazy.
That's
he's only youngest guy in the league. He's only 19 years old.
But I'm understanding. A lot of these guys, I tell them, man, go to college for a year or two, get in a stable environment, get some good coaching. But everybody's in a hurry to get to the money. And a lot of times you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're just not ready mentally or physically. Like I say, go to college for a year or two. I think that would really help their development.
So that's Charles Barkley. Buy or sell that we need to force longer periods of development before players come to the NBA?
Meaning
either staying in college longer
baseball?
or at an academy like the European ones that the international players go to.
Well, update me on the status of the age limit thing. Because
right now you just have to be. My belief is you just have to be a year removed from high school, so you can basically, if you go to you can go right from high school to a G League Ignite, or you could go right from high school to Europe, or you could go do a year of college. But basically, you just have to be a year removed from high school and you can go.
I thought it was 18. That was a number.
Is it 18?
Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought that you had to be a high school. I thought you had to be removed. At least American players had to be removed a year from high school play. I thought.
You're asking, do you want more regulation with regard to how a player can go about their career?
Basically, don't let players in the NBA as early. Buy or sell, we should not be letting them in as early. Force a little bit more development either in college or in an academy.
Well, I mean, you could go the baseball model. You go the baseball model, you're doing both. You're saying you can go straight to the league from high school, or if you go to college, you have to go for 3 years. That's what baseball does. I don't know. I used to think this was a bigger problem, but I don't think it's that big of a problem anymore, in a sense that I think you should just let kids do whatever the hell they want to do. It's their life, their career.
In general, I agree with that sentiment. I think that this is coming from a place where people think that the talent in the NBA has gotten watered down and that the basketball playing isn't as good. You're getting these super athletes out there, but across the board, you don't have the quality of play.
I get it. Look, I want the NBA to be better. I have long pointed out the flaws of the NBA. But if I listed all of the flaws of the NBA, and there are many that make it a product that, I don't know, it's just not all that interesting. I think it just could be way more interesting than it is. That is kind of down the list now. I would have said maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, that's a bigger problem. That's really an issue for the NBA. I mean, I think what you're saying is too many young kids, and they're just too raw.
Well, and that the next generation just isn't good enough.
No, I don't know about that. I just think I don't think we should legislate what guys can and can't do with their own lives and careers just to make the league better. I get that you can do that, but I don't think that's the main problem with the NBA. I think it's actually way down the list. So I'd be for the baseball model is interesting, but I'd be for just letting them. Hey, if you can play, you can play, man. How old's Wemby?
That's who they were talking about in that clip. I think he's 19.
How old? So he's 19. Okay. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the NFL. Our old buddy Russell Wilson went on Brandon Marshall's podcast.
Dangerous.
Mr. Unlimited.
And he had this to say about what he wants for the rest of his career.
I got more fire than ever, honestly, especially over the past 2 years of what I've gone through. Whether it's in Denver or somewhere else, I hope it's in Denver. I hope I get to finish there. I committed there. I wanted to be there. I want to be there. For me, it's about winning. Over the next 5 years, I want to win 2. I want to feel the chill of that trophy again. Yeah. I love the city and everything else, but you also want to be a place that wants you too. So the thing that I want to do is win, man. That's all I care about.
So a couple things in that little clip there, but the most notable, Russ wants to win 2 more Super Bowls in the next 5 years. Buy or sell that Russ could win even 1 Super Bowl with the right team.
I don't think so, Guy. I don't think he's got that. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Sean Payton made him a little bit better. He kind of shaved off some edges that were bad under what's his nuts. Who's the guy they fired?
Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett.
Couldn't hack it.
Could not.
Yeah, he was better under Sean Payton, but there's a reason why they're moving off of him. And it's that Sean Payton doesn't think he can win a Super Bowl with him. And they're going to move off of him. And that, I trust Sean Payton's judgment there. I just think Russell Wilson is he's kind of cooked. He's not what he used to be. I think he's still very smart, capable quarterback. I think if he's a starter for, say, the Raiders or even maybe the Steelers, they could knock some people off. But I just ultimately winning the whole thing, no, I don't think that's going to happen.
I tend to be with you on that one. I just haven't seen it in the last couple years, and not sure that he'll be able to land in a spot where it's doable for him. And then finally,
yes,
A.J. Brown has seen his name bandied about and drugged through the mud a little bit in Philly, whether he's a problem guy or creating issues in the locker room. Well, he had about enough, so he just decided to call into Philly station WIP himself today. And here's a short clip. He went on for 4 or 5 minutes, but here's part of what he had to say.
Dear.
I'm misunderstood. I'm not even trying to be understood by people because you're not going to understand me because you're not in my shoes. So yeah, I honestly, yeah.
But you do realize, real quick, AJ, I don't want to cut you off, but you realize people do want to understand you. Like, they do want to understand you. They do want to understand.
I don't think so. I'm human. I may not do it the best way every single time, but that's who I am. That's who I'm forever going to be until I'm 6 feet under the ground. That's who I am. I'm not going to change who I am. So if you don't like it, you just don't like it, because you might as well get in line with the rest of the people. And I'm not just talking about you guys. I'm talking about the media and whoever else. Like, I'm my own person, and I'm not afraid to speak up. And that's what I think scares a lot of people, because like today, like I had the balls to get on your show today. Like I know my worth and I know what I bring to the table.
Buy or sell that trying to control your own narrative by calling into the local show is a good way to go.
Sell. What is he talking about even?
People have been complaining that he's like a locker room cancer and that he's creating issues within the locker room, that he was calling out guys. There's basically been a lot of rumors about him being an issue with that Eagles team and kind of at the focal point of a lot of their problems. It's been on every radio station there. And basically today he just called up and said, like, I might be a guy who pushes people, but like I'm a team guy and I'm a guy who's helping the team win.
Okay, well, I don't know. Had we heard much of this about him before this season?
Not before this season, no.
Yeah.
It was more midway through the season it started.
Yeah, and then it was weird in the playoffs too. Like there was some weird stuff going on in Philly for sure.
Yes.
And so it's hard to know what he's actually like. At the same time, to your point, no, sell. God, your idea is to call up the local sports radio station and say, well, you just need to trust that.
Well, and part of it was that people were saying he doesn't want to be here. And he's like, you cannot say that. You don't know that. I do want to be here, and I play hard.
He's doing some damage control there.
Yeah.
Because he did say, I thought he did say that. Or at least towards the end. Like, he didn't even play in the playoff game, right?
I don't recall.
I thought they benched him or something weird happened. And
did he get banged up? I don't remember.
They probably said he got banged up, but
yeah, maybe.
it was a whole weird thing. Look, I don't know. It sounds to me like he's just trying to, sort of cover his tracks for the things that he stuck his own foot in his mouth for saying. And the last place you want to do that is WIP in Philly. God. But probably good ratings for them.
I'd imagine.
By the way, somebody mentioning AAU culture, 100%.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the age limit for NBA or for high school kids or young kids going to the NBA, watering down the product a little bit, too young, too raw. 100% this text is correct that the AAU culture is a way bigger culprit than actual age.
Yeah.
Like, you look at some of the young European players get a lot more just just a lot more team skills and are ready to play maybe younger than, not that they're not raw, than American players because of the AAU thing. So again, it's not the individual players and age.
Yeah.
I think it's just the system that they're coming up in, and it's just the whole model. I've always said this about basketball. Part of the NBA's problem is the whole model. From the second from the second parents and coaches figure out a young kid can play, and you guys know this with kids out there in the system, that can be as young as 6th grade.
Yep.
Or whatever. The second they figure out a kid can play, the whole model from there on through is really, really, really warped.
Yes.
It's not good, and it hurts the NBA.
Well, Suk and I talked a little bit about this the day that you were off last week, I guess Tuesday, because Adam Silver over the All-Star break had essentially admitted to saying that our development here in the U.S. for our young players is not good enough. We're seeing guys come over from Europe who are not ready, but way closer to ready. Giannis, Luka, Wemby. And then you're seeing guys here who are taking way longer. And he says, they practice more over there. We play more games and do more showcases here. And he was a proponent of trying to start academies for basketball here in the U.S. a little bit younger because guys are just going all around the country on these AAU type tours. And it's all about exposure and an individual flex. And there's not a whole lot of basketball being learned.
Right. That's kind of what it is. I mean, I've talked to some people in that circuit that lament how bad the coaching is. Like, they're just not great coaches. All they're doing is just they're just
stacking teams with names.
That's right.
And then signing up for the best tournaments and where the most scouts are going to be. And
they're getting their hands on the best players.
They're promising eyeballs on your kid, which they can do.
And they're passing them the ball and say score 50, 40, 30, and it's no good. And so at least Adam Silver recognizes. I think Adam Silver's smart. I think if he recognizes that and he's not in denial about that, then maybe some good things can happen. At the grassroots level on that. Help the NBA in the end. Stockwatch each Monday brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. In the news is next. S is going down at Washington State. That's next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports
right, pleased to have you along. Good Monday. It is 4:38. Isaac is my name. That's my name.
Shut up.
Big Sue could be back tomorrow. Ryan Buckley is here.
That was pretty good. It sounded like Jim Calhoun was specifically telling you to shut up.
It really
That was
really
good.
worked.
Yeah.
It really worked. Right now it is February 26, 2024. It's time for In the News. I am your noted and humble newsman. Today is National Set a Good Example Day. Are you doing that for your 2 young children, Buckley?
Oh, I hope so. I think mostly. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, they're a little young yet.
Yeah, well, no, the older one, he's almost 3, so he's impressionable. You do stuff or say stuff around him, he will mimic it. He's a little parrot, that one.
I was golfing with a friend's kid, with a friend and his kid the other day. 15-year-old kid. Great kid. Young golfer and basketball player at Westland. And I was reminded after the round how they are watching, those youngs, man, because I went through this with my kid. They're watching everything. Whether you think they are watching or not, they're watching. And in golf, the youngs sometimes struggle with the temper, or like just not being able to, it's just...
Yeah. Golf is frustrating,
It's
and
very frustrating.
the world is becoming more frustrating for the youth because everything's so instant.
Yeah, you got to stay in it. You got this next shot, calm down, nothing major. So he thanked me after that. He's like, I just really like him playing with players who are just calm and don't, just are pretty chill. Like that's a good thing. And I was like, man, that is not something I would have even thought of, because the kid is he's such a nice kid, and he's presentable, and he's a good golfer, and he doesn't throw clubs, and he's just he's a delightful young man. But it just reminded me, that even at 15, when they present themselves that way, they're still watching, and they don't have it all figured out, and they need that example. So, Buckley, set a good example for your 2 rat fart kids.
I will. Oh, man, the little one, he has some rat farts, let me tell you.
What does that mean?
Oh, they're just really stanky.
A little gas.
Like, way more than the first kid. I don't know why that is.
Yeah. You already seeing their personality differences?
No, the little one doesn't have a personality yet. I mean, he smiles a little bit.
Just a little wet blanket, that one?
Well, he smiles and giggles and farts and poops, but he does not really, he doesn't emote.
I
just
tell you
yet.
what, I know you think your baby's cute. I'm sure your baby is cute. But your baby cannot be. I haven't even seen your baby yet. There is no way it can be as cute as my neighbor's baby.
Oh, yeah?
There's just no way.
So then what does that mean for Dirt's baby?
Again,
No way.
I'll put this baby up against any other baby.
All right.
I mean, babies...
Maybe we'll have a baby off.
Dude, this baby, they sent me the first giggle photo. Dad's making
Oh,
faces.
yeah, I've got one of those on my phone.
Belly laugh. Okay, I want to see it. I want to compare.
Okay.
I'll show you this one, too.
All right.
Maybe you do have a cute baby, but
Maybe?
it's going to be tough to battle my neighbor. It's also For Pete's Sake Day, which
Oh.
I don't really know who Pete is or how that started.
I don't either, but my grandfather, who my first son is named after, he always said, for Pete's sake. That was like his go-to, oh goodness, or oh heavens, or whatever, old person thing.
Maybe it just came from, I don't know if there was an original Pete, but it probably just came from not wanting to say for God's sake, right? You just throw Pete in there. I didn't bother to look that up either. Snow, rain, lightning, and hail, all possible in Portland. Still, it's looks like it's kind of sunny out there right now, but today's been one of those weird days where you look outside and it's dark and kind of snowing, sleeting 1 minute, and then the next minute it's sunny and it looks like you should be teeing off.
Really weird weather day. By the way,
Very
I do have an answer for you on the etymology of For Pete's Sake.
Okay.
They thought it was a sub for Christ's sake or for God's sake, and it was for St. Peter's sake, but they just shortened it to Pete's.
So they
less inflammatory than saying God or Christ, so it just went with a disciple, St. Peter.
Okay.
And then it just got subbed for Pete's.
Okay.
At least that's what the internet is telling me.
All right. You can find a lot of stuff on the internet. Washington State, I was teasing ahead saying that, man, S is going down at Washington State. Well, I don't know what you guys think. I don't follow it close enough, you Cougs out there, to know really. But the president of Washington State, Kirk Scholes, who we've spoken about several times here because he's involved in the whole college football realignment thing. He does not, and again, I'm going to tread lightly because I don't really know, but it does not seem that he is a great leader per se from just my little corner of the world with regard to the college football stuff. I don't know how he is in other areas, but this kind of says a little bit about that. A group of longtime professors, and they're talking about like 200 professors or something, is calling on Washington State University President Kirk Scholes and other university administrators to step down. They have written a public letter, much like if you've seen the latest episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, disgruntled.
I am disgruntled.
Did you watch that last night?
I did.
God, so good.
I still think the previous week was the best of the season.
No question. This one did not quite stand up to number 3, but still, Curb is just such a great show. The faculty members outline grievances including declining financial stability, staff morale, and university enrollment. The open letter reads, by most critical measures, Washington State's stature has declined precariously under the current leadership. Immediate change in the form of fresh visionary leadership that invests in and empowers academic and research excellence is essential. Okay, sometimes, I hate to be the sports Neanderthal, but sometimes when it's like there's a professors versus athletics battle, in these higher education institutions. And so sometimes the professor side of it, I'm more of a sports dork. So
yeah.
I don't pretend to know the sort of the ins and outs of that, but man, they're really raking them over the coals here. Tenured Regents Professor of Molecular Biosciences, Dr. Michael Griswold, has taught and conducted research at Washington State for 48 years, and he is a primary organizer of the Scholes ouster effort.
Wow.
He said a group of 5 faculty met with Washington State administration last year to address its concerns, but since then the group has been shut out from communication and decided to air its grievances publicly. He said, we are convinced the current administration is not capable or willing to make the kind of change we're looking for. Well, I got to tell you, I know that with Oregon State and Washington State, it is not entirely anyone's fault. And I'm just looking solely at the conference realignment thing where they got left out of the Pac-12, and now it's just trouble. But I do think heads should roll for that. Like I am really surprised Scott Barnes still has a job at Oregon State, and this Kirk Scholes guy, same. It doesn't give me confidence if I'm a Coug, at least in that one area.
Do you think they keep their jobs until they land on their feet in a big conference, or?
Well, I tell you what, I'd get somebody else in there to try to.
If you don't think they're the stewards of this thing, then now would be the time.
I don't, but what do I know? I don't know anything. I'm an idiot, self-proclaimed. So we have not seen any sort of response from Scholes or other university higher-ups, but Washington State University faculty, they do not like Kirk Scholes.
Apparently.
All right, up next, hey, do you want to save 60% on your PGE bill?
Yes, I would.
Most people would say yes. You got to be a radio producer, though.
Nice.
I'll tell you how. And wait, kids can get married in Washington. Did you read this story?
No.
They're going to ban child marriage.
I did hear another weird law thing today, but it was in, I think, Missouri.
So we're going to get to those items when we return. This is In the News for February 26th on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
It's going to be Mitchell, long pass in the front court, intercepted by Cam Hildreth. Horn sounds, and Wake has done it. The Deacons upset Duke by the final score of 83-79, and for the first time in 4 years, Mark, the Deacons off or knock off a top 10 team. Wake stays unbeaten at home, 15-0. The students have stormed the court as Wake hangs on to beat the Devils 83-79.
Yeah, I think storming the court is one of the coolest things in college sports. Fans love it. Schools love it. I think we're overreacting to the bad things that could happen as a result of it. So therefore, I say, let them storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fans Window into Sports is brought to you by Window Nation. Get 50% off all window styles, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years at windownation.com.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. It must be a nice position to be in professionally when you can get your ass kicked and be embarrassing, and people celebrate the fact that you got another ping pong ball, and then if you win a game that you shouldn't or your team plays better, people get to jump on and say, hey, Chauncey's great. But when you suck, it's like, hey, we got a ping pong ball. There's no negative in that situation for Chauncey Billups.
Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on 1080 The Fan.
Hey everyone, it's Sprague here with my friend Bill from Three Mountains Plumbing. We're discussing plumbing tips for Portland homeowners. Bill, how can we maintain our water heaters so they give us warm water this winter?
Well, you're going to want to flush it once a year to keep sediment from building up, which in turn helps the water heater work more efficiently. The other thing is checking the elements and burners and the thermostat.
Hear this.
Yeah. I stormed the court. Are you ready? At an NIT game. An Oregon NIT game.
You idiot.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get the story later. This is in the news, Feb 26, 2024. I asked you if you wanted 60% off your PGE bill, your power bill, and you said yes. Well, today, Portland General Electric announced 85,000 customers may be eligible for a discount program that takes up to 60% off of their energy bills. It is called the Income Qualified Bill Discount Program. It launched in 2022, originally offered bill discounts of up to 25%, but that bracket has now been expanded to 60% for 2024. PGE states that there are currently 75,000 customers enrolled in this program, and they estimate another 85,000 could be eligible based on the income level criteria. That's why I said you got to be a radio producer.
Ah, I see.
So it's based on, eligibility for it is based on household size and average annual gross income. And you can apply on their website, PGE, or by calling their customer service line. And information is available in 15 languages if you speak 15 languages. So if you brought in an annual income of $33,427 US, you can enroll. If you are a family of 4, you can qualify with an annual income of $64,282. So, cool little deal by PGE there. Kids can get married at any age in Washington. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Most states, including Oregon, do allow some form of child marriage. However, Washington is one of only 5 states in the union that does not have any age limit on marriage. The debate is centered on forced versus consensual child marriages. There's been more than 5,000 marriages involving a minor in Washington state in the last 24 years. Boy, head sewn to the carpet, I would not have thought that was a thing.
I can't believe that.
On Friday, in a 48 to 1 vote, Washington state senators passed a bill that would ban all child marriages.
Yeah, so it seems like something that was most definitely antiquated, and everybody was in favor of switching back so that it's the right way.
So the Democrat Monica Stonier of Vancouver is the lead sponsor of the bill. Meanwhile, Jeff Hawley, a Republican from Eastern Washington, was the only one who voted against the bill.
Yeah, what's his argument? That I want to know. Why should we allow child marriage, sir?
Another Republican from Eastern Washington said, in very rare cases, we should make it available for 17-year-olds to get married.
Why?
Before the vote, that same guy offered an amendment that would have avoided a total ban by allowing a judge to approve a marriage for a 17-year-old. They must find there is no evidence or indication of undue force, coercion, or distress. Well, why? What's the point of that?
I don't know.
17? Why does he? That's weird.
I can't.
They
I'm
voted
not sure
again.
why you would want that.
They voted against him.
Well, yeah, 48 to 1.
Right now, Washington State, no, just of that amendment, but Washington State does require parental consent for 17-year-olds to get a marriage license. Oh. Anyone younger than that must get approved by a county judge.
No one needs approval to get married at 17. Everyone's too dumb at 17. They're too dumb at 18. We should just
ban
be
it.
rolling this back anymore.
Ban it.
Yeah, no one gets married until they're 35 because it might end up like court storming where everyone gets hurt.
Right. Ban marriage. I don't care what age. You can't get married.
Do you know how many people get hurt and divorced? A lot. We should just ban it.
That's right. That's all we have time for. That's ITN. What's today? The 26th? Did I say it was?
Yeah.
26th.
Sounds right.
February 26, 2024. All right, up next, it's a jam-packed Hot 5 at 5. Got some baseball signings. The NFL is going to vote on a new kickoff model, perhaps. Combine is getting underway. Some coaching news. It's all next, okay? It's 4:57 on The Fan. Hey, it's me, sticking around for Window Nation. They have upped the ante. What do we just mentioned? It's 26, so we only have a few days having a nice little Monday. It's your sports bros. Rop, that's me, sup. Big Sook is not right over there. He's in New Orleans. He'll be back tomorrow. He will join me out of the cage. We'll be out there at X Golf Tualatin tomorrow for the Fan Winter Golf Classic, so join us 3 to 7. Hopefully Mike Barrett will stop by. And, of course, Danny and Dusty will be up at X Golf Vancouver for the Winter Golf Classic up there from noon to 3 if you're in either of those areas. The Fan Bros would love to see you. Ryan Buckley is here. Coming up this hour, he is going to tell us his court storming story.
Pretty lame.
I mean, we talked court storming all through our first hour of radio broadcast today, and he did not mention it.
Well, it wasn't relevant. I mean, the topic was, but we were talking about whether to outlaw it or not. We were not talking about whether or not I looked like a jackass storming the court against Colorado in an NIT game.
That still blows me away that it was the NIT. So who's work? Okay, so this one, I'm getting fresh court storming information like every 5 minutes here. Apparently, I have found out now, my sources are telling me that Will Ortner once stormed a court at a volleyball game.
At Central Washington.
So I don't know what's worse.
Like, we got
Washington. We got to talk
volleyball
about
court storming.
And no, I'd never stormed the court at Kansas because we don't do that. We're so good.
Even back then, no one had stormed it. Has anyone? When was the last time the court got stormed at KU?
You know, that's a good question. I don't think in my lifetime, I don't remember them ever doing it at Allen Fieldhouse. I think they'll do it at, like, the fans at, they'll rush the court at, like the Final Four and stuff like that. Maybe
no,
not.
that's too court. Like, I don't think that fans really have access anymore.
I don't know.
Not a thing you do. You're just too good for that.
Although I will tell you, I'll try to, when we talk about this, I'll tell you one of my favorite Allen Fieldhouse stories, in which case, I mean, like, if we did storm the court, that would have been the day. And this is why I love court storming, is that it would have been such a blast to do it. But that's coming up. A little Anthony Kim talk. Should we really be booing the Blazers? Apparently they were being booed last night. And look, I get it. They sucked. But and then if we have time, I have so much stuff in my notes. The richest sports teams continue to fail. And it's glorious. Hopefully we'll have time for that. Coming up tonight in the club, I've got a proposal for you. And it involves a mansion. I want to give you a mansion. But there's a catch. That'll be tonight in our club hour. And trying to think about we may talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. I always love that.
Okay.
And what's happening at some fine Mexican resorts these days.
Is there a swindle going on?
It's not good.
Oh.
So that's what we have coming up. If you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. Right now, the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victoricos.com. Number 5.
Yeah, a couple people bringing this up. I should have mentioned. Basketball, we don't storm the court at Kansas. Football, we do. We storm the field.
Yeah, when the fighting Manginos have you going, you got to do it.
Well, I don't think we did that. Well, maybe we did.
You had to have that season because you had to have beat somebody good.
We'd won like one game in 7 years, and then we beat Texas, and you better believe they rushed that game.
Damn straight you did.
Anthony Kim is back. Former U.S. Ryder Cup upstart will play professional golf for the first time since 2012. He will be at this week's LIV event. Kim won 3 times in 6 years on the PGA Tour in 2008 and 2010, but he hung it up after an Achilles injury that led to surgery in 2012. Rumor has it he's been partying. He has not played even recreationally for years. He is now 38 and securing that bag. I do want to talk about this just briefly.
I do too. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew that partying might be a component. I didn't realize that he had just like stopped playing completely. That was news to me.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure he's ramping it up now.
Well, yeah, I bet he's not rolling out there cold, but at the same time, I didn't realize it was such a hiatus.
Well, I tell you, his story is really an interesting one. We'll get to that. Let's see what else do I have for you. The Ducks are 2 games back of Arizona in the Pac-12 men's basketball race. There are 4 games to play. Now, the good news is that Oregon does get Arizona one more time. The Ducks will host Oregon State this Wednesday, and then it's off to Tucson to play the Wildcats, which will be a huge game, not only for the league, but the Ducks probably need to win that game to get an at-large spot in the NCAA tournament. Right now they are 18-9 on the season. Many believe they'll need a win like that one over Arizona to get them an at-large spot. Now, the other way they can get in is if they can win the Pac-12 basketball tournament. Houston is the new number 1 in men's hoops this week. Purdue is number 2. Connecticut is 3. Tonight, you've got one top 25 team in action, and that is North Carolina right now, who is at home in the early in the second half. They are leading Miami 41-37.
Number 3.
The Cubs have retained free agent outfielder Cody Bellinger on a 3-year deal. They are saying that's for $80 million. He will make $30 million each of the next 2 seasons, and then if he makes it to that third year, he'll get $20. He hit .307 with 26 bombs for Chicago last season. 3 major free agents are still on the market. They are all Scott Boras clients. Pitchers Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery, also third baseman Matt Chapman. By the way, I was looking at the odds today on where Matt Chapman will sign, and the Mariners, even though they are saying they're balking at his price tag, the Mariners are actually the odds-on favorite in Vegas to sign Matt Chapman.
I like that guy's game. I liked him in Oakland. I know it wasn't, all great in Toronto, but I think he's pretty good.
Well, he's got a great glove.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have traded outfielder Manuel Margot to the Twins for a prospect. Raise your hand if you even knew Manuel Margot was with the Dodgers. I did not.
Me.
2 little signings. Infielder Kiki Hernandez has returned to the Dodgers, and former Giants shortstop Brandon Crawford, your boy.
I watched a little nostalgic 3-minute highlight video of him in Giant stuff today. Got a little dusty.
He has signed with the St. Louis Cardinals. He'll be a backup to some rookie phenom that they have. The Bengals have placed the franchise tag on wide receiver T. Higgins. Combine begins tomorrow in Indianapolis, although I think a lot of guys are getting there today. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels will not throw. Bears GM Ryan Poles is set to meet with the media tomorrow morning. There are reports that a framework of a Justin Fields trade could be in place this week at the Combine. Meanwhile, in Kansas City, Andy Reid is expected to become the highest paid head coach in the NFL, as those sides have opened up extension talks. And the Niners have interviewed former Chargers coach Brandon Staley for their vacant defensive coordinator position. Current staffers Nick Sorensen and Daniel Bullocks are also in the running, and there are reports that the Niners will talk to a few more outside candidates next week. There are a lot of good defensive coordinators out there for your Niners. I mean, like Ron Rivera, I don't think has a job, right?
I thought he went to Dallas.
Did he go to Dallas?
I think he's in
Dallas.
Dallas.
No, that's Mike Zimmer.
Oh, you're right.
And not that he would take a defensive coordinator job. He may just be
I think it was reported that he might. You're right.
But you got him and Vrabel and Staley.
Boy, if they could get Vrabel, I'd love that. You could get Belichick. No, that's fun.
Yeah. Well, like Belichick, Vrabel, and what's
Staley?
No, not Staley, but Rivera. All 3 really good candidates, but I would imagine they're just waiting to be head coaches next, not defensive coordinators. But if you could get them, it would be great. And number 1 is the NFL will vote this March whether or not to adopt the XFL kickoff model. The way they do it in the XFL is as follows. The kicker lines up at his own 30, with the other 10 members of his team lining up at the opponent's 35. So they're all the way on the other side of the field. They're only 5 yards away from the returning team. So the kicker and the returner are the only players who can move until the ball is fielded. Touchbacks are placed at the 35-yard line. Now, the point of this is to get
This makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, the idea is to get more returns, but also, of course, limit the high-speed collisions. They say in 2023, only 22% of all kickoffs in the NFL were returned. So, yes, I think you're exactly right. This does make a lot of sense, and I think you would like it in the NFL.
Well, they have been trying for a long time to try to keep the action in the game while taking out the most dangerous plays, and all the stats show that kickoff returns are among, if not the most, it is the most dangerous play in football because guys are running at each other at such high speeds and they're trying to break the wedge. You line them up 5 yards apart from each other, It's not that different than them lining up for a play. So I love this idea.
It's way better. Yeah, and you'll get more returns.
Yeah.
But it's so true. It's like I always watch kickoff returns with disdain because as a fan, I'm like, come on, like
it's a chance to score a touchdown. Get out there, do it.
Yeah, get out. And then I'm like, well, what am I talking about? This guy is terrified that he's going to get trucked. Like it's not that easy, dude. But as a fan, I'm like, come on, run. I feel like you should have more balls as a kick returner. But then I'm like, dude, you try it.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm 7 yards deep in my own end zone, no, I'm not taking the chance to get my neck broken.
God,
Thank you.
Right. You're running full speed at those bros coming at you full speed?
Well, how about the dudes in front of the returner building the wedge? They just got to put their heads down and brace themselves.
Yeah, F that. All right, guys. Stop goofing off here. It's the Hot 5 at 5. It's brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. We've got a lot to get to this hour. Buck likes to storm the court, but only for the NIT. Anthony Kim is back, and should we really be booing the Blazers? It's 5:13 on The Fan.
The Fan is live on
what they do about squib kicks and onside kicks. I don't know that.
I would imagine there would be penalties if you didn't get the kick to go a certain distance. And, I mean, squibs might be out, or you might have to kick it extra high for like a fair catch, something like that. I mean, those are problems that we address when we get there.
Well,
the onside kick, I think the way that they have changed the rules on that we're going to get to the point where I think they might do that whole 4th and 12 thing. You know, have you seen that rule?
What's that?
That basically you get the ball, I want to say at your own 18, and you get 1 4th and 12 to try and then if you convert it and you get to the 30, you basically get to continue your drive from there.
Yeah, instead of an onside.
Right, and if you lose it, then you give up the ball there.
Well, I don't know if they adopted the XFL kickoff rules, which we just explained. You couldn't onside.
No, that's what I'm saying. You would have to either regular kick or you'd have to like institute a rule like the 4th and 12 where that takes the place of the onside kick.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. But the onside, I love the onside. I think it's a really fun play. But now they've rendered it basically useless.
Yeah, you can't line up enough guys on the field on that side of the field to make it effective anymore.
And someone mentioned, the touchback would take it all the way out to the 35. Yes, that promotes a return. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
Like the kicking team wants you to return it because they don't want you to get it. They don't want a touchback, because then you get it all the way out to the 35.
Yep.
So anyway, very interesting. I love that the NFL. You got to hand it to the NFL. They definitely, when they see problems, they get right at fixing them.
For the most part, I would agree with that.
They really do.
I think there's certain things that
the NBA needs a little bit of
that.
I
think I saw a headline that we may not be getting close to overturning that whole touchback out of the end zone call. You know, when you fumble out of the end zone, and it goes to the 20 for the other team. A lot of people hate that one. I do too. I don't think it should be a turnover, but it should be treated like ball going out of bounds. I don't know why that hasn't been fixed yet, but you're right. For the most part, when something doesn't work, they fix it. And sometimes when the fix doesn't work, they fix that. Remember when they made pass interference reviewable for a year? After the whole Nickel Roby-Coleman thing?
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
For 1 year, they made pass interference.
And they didn't like it.
No, because the results were all over the map. People would think, well, for sure that's interference. And they'd say, well, no, we don't think so. They're like, this doesn't work. They took it away.
Yeah, I thought it... See, I disagree. I thought it did work.
I thought it worked great for the really blatant calls. Yeah.
But, Bill Belichick always said this, and I always agreed with him. He said, everything should be reviewable. Everything. And I totally agree with that. I mean... If you get eyeballs on it and you look at it and you go, well, that is or isn't, it's not perfect, but I don't see why. I mean, I do see why they don't do that. It's just time and stoppages of play and everything. But at the same time, if you want to get it right, I don't know why you can't review everything. AAA Heating and Cooling poll question today. It is at 1080 The Fan on X. Today we're asking you, fan court storming, what say you? It's dope or ban it. And right now, 53% say it's dope. They agree with us. 47% say ban it. There is a little late breaking news on that today, and I forgot to throw it in the Hot 5, but Brett Yormark at the Big 12 came out and said they are meeting on a call tomorrow to discuss court storming. Something bad happens to Duke, and albeit get everybody on the horn, bat signal goes up. We got to talk about it. I had a game at I tell you, one of the things I like about court storming is that I just think it's a fun thing for students at college. I think it's a fun part of the college experience. It's part of why they go to games. It's sort of a vibe because it doesn't happen every game. But if you're at a game, if you've ever been at a college game where there was the court storming vibe, I certainly was at Allen Fieldhouse at Kansas, where they do not storm the court. At least in basketball. We had a game, they played UCLA when I was a student there one year. This is in the, I don't know, we've talked about this before. I had to look it up. I never remember. I think it's like 1995. Right after UCLA won the championship with Jim Herrick, they came to Allen Fieldhouse the next year, and I think they were ranked, they were top 2 or 3 team in the country. And Kansas was good, Jock Vaughn and those guys, and We were down like 15 points at half, maybe even closer to 20. And the second half, dude, they came out of the locker room, and that place, I have never heard that place louder. And that place is freaking loud. It is a great place to view sports. Best in the country. And in the second half, they blitzed them, beat them like 50-30 in the second half. And Jacques Vaughn had this spin move in the lane that was just top 10 Sports Center highlight. The place just went nuts. That was like that vibe was so fun.
Yeah.
So fun. And that would have been, it was at Kansas, so we don't do that, but it would have been a storm the court type of game.
And
it was going to be so fun. Like that I just, having been a part of that, I just think storming the court is actually a really cool thing for college sports and college fans. And I get that there are some dangers, but not much has occurred over the years in terms of problematic behavior. It really hasn't been much.
It's proven itself until this year with these two collisions,
So I
Caitlin
say
Clark
keep
and
it.
Filipowski.
Yeah.
Those two collisions aside, it's usually a completely harmless event.
So I'm for keeping it. Yeah, I just think like if you've ever been a part of it, like that everybody's just out, like it's just a vibe. Like they're having a good time. They're not there to take out Filipowski or whatever his name is.
So I admitted to maybe using some poor judgment and storming the court my freshman year in an NIT game. I did get the chance to storm the court when Oregon beat a number 1 UCLA team at MacArthur Court before it was Matthew Knight.
Oh, really?
Awesome. It was really great. It was a Aaron Brooks led team.
And then you get out there and you jump up and down.
Yeah, you just run, and everyone
Really
high
all you
fives
do.
each other, and you kind of hug random people, and it's great. Yeah.
So what is the NIT game was Colorado?
It was nationally televised. It was on. And with
That
the
doesn't
NIT,
help.
the better team gets to host their game usually because no one's going to go see
Right.
a neutral site game between two teams that didn't make the tournament. So Oregon was hosting Colorado, and they were down bad. I'd have to go back and look. It was like 16 or 17 that they were down. And Luke Jackson just took over in the second half. It ended up being his last game as a Duck, or last game at MacArthur Court, I should say. And he scored 31 of Oregon's last 33 points to lead the comeback. And it was a individual performance worthy of celebration, but I don't think I needed to go mob the court for an NIT game. But I wasn't alone.
Yeah, but you said you were front row, so you led the charge.
I was among those leading the charge, I
You were
guess.
William Wallace.
I was not quite. See, I would have had to be like a leader of the pit crew. I was not. It was
Yeah, but how do you figure out like you're going to storm the court? Like how does that work?
literally like 2 or 3 guys next to me just like bolted as soon as the zeros went up. I'm like, yep, me too.
So if 1 or 2 people in the front row do it, everybody's like, cool.
I'm going for something like that where it's the NIT and you might not think to do it. I mean, when you take out number 1, everybody knows it's happening, right? Like that, the game that they beat UCLA, like it wasn't.
It's understood.
It was like there was just a buzz waiting for it, kind of. You know?
Exactly, and that's the fun of it, right there.
That is especially if you're kind of a fringe sports fan, like. People like to go to the big game where the upset might happen. And then if you've got that lead, there's that buzz and that tension in the building. Like, can we make it to 0 before they catch up to us? And if not, we're going wild. That's an awesome feeling.
Yeah. I think that's hilarious. You guys stormed the court for the NIT.
That's right.
And that shows you, right? Doesn't that say everything right there?
I was just a freshman who wanted to be part of it.
These college kids are so dumb, and they'll storm the court for the NIT. It's just a vibe. It's like to us, we're like, what are you doing? But to them, they're in it, man. It's fun. They're gonna go out there, get their selfies. You know.
This was pre-selfie. I didn't even think we had smartphones.
So which is worse, Buckley storming the court for the NIT, or Will Ortner, who admitted this morning on the morning show that he stormed the court for a Central Washington volleyball game?
I'm guessing I'm worse here because that Central Washington volleyball game probably meant something bigger than the NIT game meant.
Oh man, I think I respect it. The volleyball storm.
Oh yeah.
I respect that.
Get that kind of enthusiasm from your fan base. You've earned it. Good job, ladies.
All right. Coming up next, we'll get to Anthony Kim. And I heard that fans were booing the Zers last night. Is that true? Were you out there?
I was
with
not
your
out
$1 ticket?
I was not out there, nor were they available on YouTube TV.
Oh, you didn't see them?
No. I saw their box score.
I saw a little bit of it. Dude.
3 for 32 from deep, and which included 2 threes in like the last couple minutes.
It was bad.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that coming up. It is 5:28. Thanks for being here with us. Let's go to Buckwith Sports Center.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan in the NFL, it's shaping up to be a running back heavy free agent market. Today, we learned that Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, and Austin Eckler are all expected to avoid the franchise tag. In most cases, their current teams will attempt to sign long-term deals, but they may explore free agency as well. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, the Bengals are expected to put the franchise tag on receiver T. Higgins. He'll earn over $21 million under that tag. And the Blazers fell to the Charlotte Hornets last night as Portland shot just 3 of 32 from beyond the arc. They try to snap their 8-game losing streak tomorrow when Miami comes to town. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley from the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. It's time for Who's Leading the Charge. A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
Long overdue. I know it's just one win. It's our first road win, but so proud of the guys just all week long. You know, and we felt like we gave one away the other night, even though Cal, give them credit, played really good down the stretch.
Well, it's official. Buckley just brought his laughing baby video in here, and it does not beat my neighbor's. I think my neighbor's is cuter.
It was a better laugh for your neighbor for sure. I would say that my baby is just as, if not more cute, but that'll be a debate for another day.
You do have a very cute baby. I don't know if it beats my neighbor's, but cute kid.
Your neighbor's baby has a lot more hair.
Yeah.
Our baby had more hair, and then it kind of...
Isn't that funny?
It's like his puppy coat went away, and now his real dog hair is coming in.
Vancouver Ford text line. 1998 Civil War in Corvallis, double overtime. Beavs win. We pre-ran onto the field when everybody thought the game was over, but there was a flag, so the game finished with the entire ring of people around the entire stadium down on the sideline. It was effing awesome.
I remember something nearly identical. The Oregon-Arizona triple overtime game. I think Mazzoli was the quarterback. It was probably 2009. It was in the desert, and Arizona thought they had won that game. And their fans all jumped down like 8 to 10 foot ledges because they thought they were going to storm the field. And then Oregon tied the game late, and it went to triple OT, and these idiot fans had to just stand on the sideline because they couldn't climb back up into the stands and watch their team lose.
I remember that so well. That's so right. Man, I love it. Storm in the court, storm in the field. It's awesome. It's a vibe. It's fun. Don't take that away from fans.
No.
Okay, so a buddy of mine texted me. He said, we were talking about briefly going to talk about the Blazers losing last night. It's not really worth talking too much about it because, look, the Blazers suck. We know that. And it looks like maybe they're pulling the chute for the second half. I think your guys' over-under bet is quite safe.
I ran the math again today. We are now on pace for under 22 wins, which is great.
You guys are fine. You have the over-under at 28.5.
So Suk and I both took 28.5, but I actually split my bet up, and I got a little extra juice to go under 25.5.
Dude, you guys are fine. You are fine.
I hope so.
Well, and not only that, but you don't want to win games. There's no incentive to win games moving forward.
No, they would have to catch a hot streak at this point, which they don't want to do, so they shouldn't.
So he said he took his kids to the Blazers game last night because I saw on Sean Hyken's Twitter that Blazer fans were booing them. And look, they were awful last. What were they?
They started the game 1 of 30 from 3. They finished 3 of 32.
Wait, which is worse? Blazers 1 of 30 or the Beavers 1 and 30 on the road?
I think the 1 and 30 on the road might be worse.
In an NBA game?
I don't know.
1 for 30? Dude.
What if your NBA team was 1 and 30 on the road?
Has that ever even happened?
3 for 30 or 3 for 32? I don't know, but I feel like an NBA team only winning 1 out of 30 road games would be a bigger issue.
Well, no, you're right, because it's just over a longer period.
Although that's kind of what the Pistons are doing this year.
1 out of 30?
I know.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said
Simons was 0 for 8.
Yeah, he said he said he wouldn't call it booing, but it was audible grumbling.
Which seems fair.
And that is, booing would be fair. But
even booing, that is how a paying customer lobbies their, or levies their discontent.
Yes, you're allowed to boo. That's fine. You paid your money, boo. But my advice would be, let's just lay off the young team.
Well, also, what are you expecting with this squad? I mean, maybe you expect a better effort against Charlotte, who also sucks and has the same number of wins as you do. But, I mean, you're not there to watch them. Well, I guess you are. Maybe you're there to watch a competitive basketball game, but certainly you can't be expecting this team to be competitive.
I tell you what I watched of last night's Blazers game between the Zers and the Hornets.
I got to be honest, I'm amazed you watched some.
I did tune in to it a little bit. I don't think I have ever seen worse basketball. Ever.
Wow. From both sides or just the Blazers side?
Yeah, Charlotte sucks.
Because they also are not very good.
No. It's just that was so bad. Like when the NBA, bad NBA is as bad as it gets.
Well, the NBA supposedly has a scoring problem. There's not enough defense. This game was 93-80. It was trash.
It was such trash. It was abnormally bad. But, it's a one-off. I mean, it's like, two bad teams playing, and it's just a bad shooting. I don't know. I wouldn't make too much of it. I certainly wouldn't boo them. But at the same time, that was hot garbage.
Yeah.
You piece of garbage!
Hot smelly, awful garbage.
I just realized tomorrow was supposed to be the only national TV game of the year that they got because they're hosting the Heat, because it was supposed to be Dame's first return to Portland. They scheduled it when everyone thought Dame was going to Miami.
Huh. How are the Heat doing?
And maybe they've I actually just looked at their record today. I think they're 31-25. They're
pulling it out.
They're a playoff team in the East, but they've been.
But are they getting it together? Because I know they struggled.
I don't know. That I don't know.
Start of the year.
There was talk about Jimmy Butler discontent and things like that. So.
See, this is why you don't pay attention to the NBA until right around now.
Yeah.
Because, these teams, they got time. They'll get it together. The Bucks are getting it together. Warriors were getting it together.
Yeah. Until they blew it to the Nuggets.
Yeah. Well, the Nuggies are tough.
Yeah, but the Warriors blow leads like it's going out of style.
Are you worried about them?
Oh, yeah, but I've been worried about them.
Your Dubs?
I think that the window might be shut on.
Yeah, I would agree.
So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm down on them in that way, but I still like them.
So is it ever acceptable to boo a young team in the middle of a rebuild?
Sure.
Yeah, you don't mind.
See, here's the thing: I guess it's maybe it's a fine line, which doesn't bode well for sports fans collectively because we don't acknowledge fine lines very well, but. I think there's a difference if there's a fan base that is consistently down on a young team that's trying to get better. I feel like the Blazers have had plenty of support for this really terrible team this year. And in a game, when you play another bad team and you play that poorly, sure. Yeah. Why not? I mean, are the young guys like supposed to be like kid gloved and protected from it? I don't think so. So it's not like I think that they should, come out of the woodwork and be blowing up these guys' social medias about how terrible they are at the game of basketball. But, some grumblings, I think in a game where you only score 80 points, yeah, that's fair.
Once you take your butt out of here.
4 of 32, was that the final?
3 of 32, started 1 of 30.
Yeah, my buddy said the Pilots would have beat them last night.
Oh, we're doing that whole thing. Could Alabama beat the worst team in the NFL?
Well, of course they couldn't. But, I mean, that was a rough night.
Could the Houston Cougars basketball team, number 1 in the land, beat the Blazers?
Probably could have had a better shooting percentage.
Probably could have.
And he said there was a lot of laughing at how bad they were in their whole section. The whole sections are making fun of the team now. It's just sad state of affairs over there. All right. We're not going to have time for the richest sports teams talk. We'll get to that tomorrow. You sent this over to us, and I always love these, the franchise valuations. The latest franchise valuations. This one comes from Sportico, the 2024 rankings of the top 100 in the world, most valuable franchises in the world. Some interesting numbers, where the Blazers fall, where the Seahawks fall, the Mariners, and there's a new team in the top 5. As a matter of fact, the Warriors were second, which I thought was interesting. Of the top 5 most valuable franchises in all of sports, and this includes European soccer, I would not have had the Warriors in the top 5.
I'm not sure I would have. Yeah, I don't know that I would have even had them in the top 10, if we're being honest. I'm thinking close, but I'm thinking teams like the marquee brands, like I think Cowboys, Yankees, Lakers, Red Sox.
Exactly.
And then, of course, your European soccer teams, your Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United. Right. Like, those all came to mind thinking they could be ahead of Golden State, but Golden State up there at number 2.
But the thing I want to point out is how, and we'll do this tomorrow, Suk will be back, he'll weigh in on it, but the richest sports teams, they're not very good, man. They aren't winning a lot of championships, and I think that makes a lot of sports fans happy. So that'll be tomorrow. Up next, though, he is back. It's 5:42 on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
I thought our guys played hard, didn't hit any shots. Our ball moved.
All right, coming up in the club, I'm going to gift Buckley a mansion because I'm that nice of a guy.
Tight.
Yeah, but there is a catch. So the news came out over the weekend, a little gaffe here, that Anthony Kim is looking to make a return to professional golf. Well, maybe he wasn't looking to make a return to professional golf, but the Saudis come calling and throw a bag of cash at you. That may make you perk up, even if you don't want to return. And that's what has happened with Anthony Kim. He is headed to the Live Tour. He's not going to be on one of their teams, but he's going to play like as a wild card or something. He's going to play in this.
Never mind. I was going to ask you, but I don't care. I don't care, but like whatever. He's out there golfing. I don't get how he would do it not on a team, but he is. Apparently.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That format is so stupid. The team format with Live, I think it's so dumb. I don't care. I don't watch. Now, here's the thing. I got to tell you, John Rahm signs with Live, and he's the best player in the world, and Live got him. And that still doesn't get me, a huge golf fan who watches golf every week. I was watching the Mexico Open, dude. That doesn't get me to watch Live.
I still don't even know where to find Live.
I couldn't agree more.
Maybe it was on the CW at one point, but that's all I know.
It's just not a thing. And they've gotten a lot of guys, and they got the best player in the world, and yet I don't watch it. And I think a lot of people don't watch it because the PGA Tour still has the best tour, and it still has the best competition, and it still has most of the best guys. There's a lot of guys out there that make the PGA Tour still very compelling. Live, it just doesn't register. And the format is stupid. I will say, though, Anthony Kim is the one guy that I may tune in to Live to watch. Like, I want to see what's going on with this dude.
Interesting.
He's fascinating.
And I would agree, but I think that what I would be wants to do is then just to look up his Twitter highlights after the round.
Yeah, maybe so.
Like, I still don't think it's moving the needle for me to go find the broadcast. I guess if I stumbled on it and he were playing, maybe that would move the needle for me, but yeah.
I tell you what, this guy had it. He won 3 times on the PGA Tour in 2008 and 2010, and he was on the U.S. Ryder Cup team. He was the guy they put out for. I remember which Ryder Cup it was, but the U.S. They put him out first, and he led the charge and beat whoever. I think maybe he beat Sergio Garcia or something, and he kicked his ass and set the tone.
He was pretty brash doing it.
Totally brash.
Yeah.
Like, he was our guy. Like, dude, Anthony Kim was so fun. A cool dude, a really fun guy to watch play, immensely talented, interesting guy. I remember watching a thing on Golf Channel once. It was Anthony Kim and Tiger Woods, and they were given they were filming it, and it was like this 15-second vignette where they were with a bunch of people who won a spot to get like a clinic with them. And they were asking Tiger, like Tiger Woods, how do you hit this shot and how do you hit that shot? And Tiger like, well, it's a very technical, and I usually do this with my hands and this and that. And they were asking Anthony Kim the same questions about these shots, and he's like, dude, I don't know. I just hit it. However I feel. It's like, I feel like that could be a good shot. He's immensely talented. In other words, just not super golf guy, just a dude who was really good at golf. Well, the story behind him is that he blew out his Achilles and had to have surgery in 2012. He quits because he took out an insurance policy on himself, and he got $10 million or whatever it is. I don't know that they know the exact number, but he basically just quit golf because he just cashed in the insurance policy and lived off of that. And I guess he was in Dallas. He lives in Dallas and was partying. And, like, he not only quit, but he kind of disappeared. Like, nobody really...
Yeah, he basically, for
there were
all
no
intents and
sightings.
purposes, like, he fell off the face of the earth.
He just
disappeared from golf, at least.
Everybody knew he was in Dallas, but he didn't appear often on social media or anything. He just was not... Apparently, he was not golfing. He went through some injury things, and he couldn't, in order to cash that insurance policy, he couldn't play professional golf. He could choose to stay out on tour and rehab and go back out on tour and earn money that way, or he could just cash in the policy. Well, he took the $10 million and just went and partied. Well, now he's back because Liv said, hey, you're interesting. Golf fans will like to watch you play. How much you want?
Do you happen to know what was the period of time he wasn't allowed to play? Like, because you said he could have gone back out and
yeah.
So I mean, like it certainly that kind of thing. I would imagine contractually has a shelf life, like 5 years or 10 years, or I mean, certainly not 10 because I think it was more recent than that.
Well, no, I want to say it's 10 because
is it 10?
It was 2012, and in 2022, it would coincide with a 10-year, $10 million or something like that, where now he's able to return. But the thought is too that he's very mysterious. Like nobody knows if he's even been playing golf. The word was that he wouldn't even play recreationally. So he's now at Live, and instantly is the most interesting thing at Live. Instantly, yet. Even with John Rahm over there, I probably won't tune in. I think Buck's right. I'll just see the highlights because he's probably not going to be that good. But if the PGA Tour can get him back out there, of course they wouldn't pay him the way the Saudis.
Maybe Liv can do something where they like mic him up or do something, add a little production value.
Well, they should.
They should.
They should utilize him.
If this is the cutting edge, do whatever we want tour, then make it interesting and do something like that.
And that's got to be like the longest gap. Can you think of another athlete? Because he captivated a lot of people. I know some of you aren't golf fans. You're like, who's this guy? But in golf, he was a big deal. He was the young hot shot. He was the upstart. He was the guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of guys who took a hiatus, whether it was because of injury or... I mean, they're like baseball players who like went to the World War and then came back like after a couple years, but nothing like a decade.
Think of a longer gap between.
I don't know that I can think of one.
A guy in his prime.
Can you?
And the comeback. No, I thought about it today. I couldn't.
Especially because we've even seen the guy is still in the sport, but he's just faltered. He's not been as good, and he has a resurgence in his game.
Right.
But that guy has still been playing when we've seen that happen. He hasn't just disappeared from the sport completely. Yeah, this is new territory.
There's nothing like this. What has happened with him. And I half want him to be really good and compelling and interesting. And then maybe show up in majors. Because I loved him. That's my guy.
What are the chances that he's competitive again? I mean, we have no idea where his game's at, but like, I'm curious if he can even be...
I doubt it. He might just be a little novelty act out there, and he knows that. He doesn't care. He's grabbing the cash.
Checks. Yeah.
Cash checks, man. Go partying. I don't know. But I root for him. And I'd also like to see, like, I feel like it's kind of lost. If Liv gets him, which they did, do not just throw him out there as a golfer. Freaking interview him, mic him up,
That's what I'm saying. Make it not an event, so to speak, because he's not like a show pony, but like, get some mileage out of this.
Well, no, I think you got to tell his story.
Yes. Yeah.
What's been going on with it? What everyone wants to know about Anthony Kim is what the hell's been going on with him? What happened? Where have you been?
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel during that time? What's been going on? If you can package that and explain that, that's way better than having him out on the course.
For sure.
So maybe Liv will be smart and do that. I don't know. Or he just grabs the bag, plays a week, and then he's out of there. I don't know. We'll see. But that's kind of cool that he's back. One of my low-key favorite athletes, Anthony Kim, or sportsman. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I wasn't following golf super closely at that point in time, but he was a big enough deal that I remember him well.
He kind of added some fun to the game, you know.
Yeah, I mean, because he was a little bit like, I don't know, fun, aggressive young guy post Tiger. It was kind of like the next. Like, he obviously wasn't Tiger's generation. He was after that, but I think he was supposed to be kind of one of those cutting edge young guys.
Yeah, golf needed that at that time. Still does. Yeah, it was 2008 Ryder Cup. Go look it up. He beat Sergio Garcia 5-4 in the first match of singles. Huge, because Sergio was such a little bitch and everyone hated him. Americans hated Serge, and Kim just took him down, waving the flag, getting the fans all fired up. Love it. All right, the club is next. I'm going to gift a mansion to Buck.
Nice.
But there is a catch. Does he do it? It's 5:56 on the Fan. Hey, real quick, I got to tell you about Window Nation yet again. I don't think I've ever seen a better One is, and this is where I was talking about the mansion.
Mansion with a catch.
Mansion with a catch. So I don't know if you've been following, but there are a couple of mansions. What is this? Point Loma?
California? I think
Dana
Dana
Point.
Point. I think
Dana
I've seen
Point.
these.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
There are 3 mansions, to be exact, in Dana Point. I think that is outside of LA, maybe?
Yep, it is just south of Laguna Beach.
Okay.
And north of San Clemente.
All right. Cliffside Mansions. Pretty cool.
Maybe more Cliffside now than before.
Nice little view of the ocean. There are photos of this. Good quality aerial photos taken from helicopters. But all the recent rain down there, and one in particular, this one is, they're saying is a $16 million home. But the rain and the mudslides have led to some of the cliffside falling off into the ocean. Right there under the house.
Yeah.
And we've seen these before, right? You've seen it happens.
Today I saw the how it started, how it's going of that house, what it used to look like and what it looks like now.
It's not fun.
No.
I mean, you can basically now swan dive from the deck of that house
into the Pacific.
Down into the water. Well, not really, but you can certainly plummet many, many feet to your death. And the other one looks even more terrifying. That one, though, this is the house next to it. It looks like it's just built into the cliffside. So there's really, I don't know. That one's a weird one. But let's just stick to this one house. I'm going to gift you this house.
Yeah,
okay?
the main one that's been in the news where everything has fallen away from it, like right off the back patio.
Yeah, and they're saying, okay, so here's the deal. So this mansion is beautiful. It's $16 million. The man inside of it refuses to leave.
He's 82, I think.
He's 82 years old, and he is saying that I'm fine. They have deemed the homes, all 3 of them, safe to live in. I don't really know by looking at the photos how on earth they could say that. But I guess
don't either.
Structurally, they can.
I'm thinking that whatever, like, I'm not a construction. Whatever they like, kind of beams or whatever they have going down into the hillside, they must believe are deep enough that more erosion like that just isn't going to affect it. But I don't know how that's possible.
Dude, I don't either. So I'm going to gift you the house, okay? I'm going to give it to you. Maybe there's an 82-year-old man in one of the rooms. Whatever. You don't care. But you have to live in it for a year. I will give you this house, but in its current state, with the hillside as it is. And by the way, more rain coming. They're saying that.
Yeah, see that's the thing is that everything's loose right now there, and there's gonna be a lot more Southern California rain before it gets to the dry season.
Yeah, so they're saying the mansion is at risk of falling into the Pacific Ocean, and it's not a slight fall. It's not like you can ride that wave and, swim to shore. You're crumbling down into the ocean, many, 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 many feet, and you're dead. But they've deemed the house safe to live in,
And who is they? Because I want to know who is deeming my house safe to live in.
Well, here's the question. Okay, so I'll read through this story, but I'll just pose this to you. I'm going to give you this house, but you have to live in it for a year in its current state.
Okay.
Are you doing it?
No. Well, no. I mean, if I can't stand to gain, I guess it would if I make it.
You're getting the house.
Well, yeah, but it's probably going to fall in the freaking ocean.
Yeah, but it's yours.
Yeah, if I'm dead, it isn't. And neither is it.
Well, you can move out after a year.
I know.
Sell it.
So that's what I'm really wondering is like, how risky is it for a year, and could I get 16 milli off this thing? But
you wouldn't get 16 million, but you could sell it. I'm sure some developer would come in and lowball your ass. So yeah, we'll take it.
I don't know, man. Again, it would come down to who is the they that's saying it's structurally sound, because it would have to be someone that I really trust, and you probably need to have a couple degrees and maybe a I don't know. Maybe have a science degree.
Those scientists better check their hypotenuses, dude.
The city's geotechnical engineer and a building sector went out to the site to assess the situation as well as talk with the homeowner.
So 2 individuals.
Who owns the residence and slope where the failure occurred. Yeah.
Well,
so
are their asses on the hook if anything goes wrong?
That's a good question.
Because again, that might tilt my decision. If they say it's okay, and I believe them, and their ass is on the line if something happens, yeah, maybe I'll live in it for a year.
So this guy's a radiologist, Louis Brugman. Brugman. He's the 82-year-old dude.
Mm-hmm.
He told KCAL-TV in LA, the house is fine, it is not threatened, and it will not be red tagged. The city agrees that there's no major structural issues with the house. Dana Point city manager Mike Killebrew said, currently the city has confirmed that there is no imminent threat to that home. While true, it's about to rain again.
Right, so the threat could change.
Exactly.
It could change literally overnight.
Exactly. So it's on good footing now, but there's no more.
There's no promise that it stays at that status.
Well, but dude, I mean, that landslide is like right up against the deck.
So
there is no
if
more room.
land mass leaves,
yes,
so is support for your house.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. If a foot of land leaves, that thing's going down. Of course, I'm no geotechnical engineer. While officials said the Dana Point Cliffside properties are safe to live in, some experts feel lots of work will need to be done to keep them safe from future storms. That's going to be the major thing. Major work to stabilize that property. We're seeing more damage, and I think we will continue to see more significant damage between back-to-back years of heavy saturation. These houses and these properties, they just can't take this kind of beating. His residence is part of a trio of homes on the cliff in this affluent region. All 3 remain in their precarious place next to the Ocean Institute, another popular tourist attraction. Yeah, the photos are wild.
They are wild.
The different angles of it. So there you go. You are armed with the info. Are you living in that house?
With that information, I think that I am.
I think I am too.
If there are enough people who know building and code and safety that say, yeah, man, go for it, then I think I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, and I'm going to get them to write it down, and
Yeah.
I'm going to sue their ass.
I also reserve the right to skedaddle in the event of a big storm. Just get on out of town.
No, see, that you can't do.
So I have to stay there even...
You have to live in it for a year. You can leave it, but then I'm not giving it to you. You have to live in it for a year for me to gift it.
Well, then I'm going to start living in it, and when I feel like there's danger, I'll bail. But I'm gonna go for it.
See, you're...
So the storm comes a-rockin', and you see some little dirt clods rolling down the hill. Isaac's staying in there?
I mean, part of me feels like this dude is like that guy up on Mount St. Helens, you know?
Yeah.
What they call Harry Truman.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of, I'm not leaving. It's my house. But he's obviously a very smart fella. He's a radiologist.
Yeah, he's 82.
Yeah, and he's old. Yeah, he's like, yeah, come
very
on.
set in their ways.
Right. So is he more like Harry Truman, or is he making a... Is this a...
I would guess that he's in the boat that is kind of the one that I would want to be in if I were him, where it's like, listen, I had experts tell me this is fine. And so therefore, I am using that to convince myself that this is fine.
But it'd be awful easy to get out of there. If you see the pictures, I'm out. But what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to up and... I mean, the other thing about this guy...
What do you do, sell it?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right. What's he supposed to... Up and leave a $16 million mansion? What are you going to...
You can't just abandon it. So,
well, he's probably got a lot of money.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but you don't want to just leave it there.
But what about insurance?
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Like, what are they doing? Like,
that's a big question.
Imagine his premium on that bad boy. All right, the next thing is, are you going to go to a Mexico resort anytime soon as an American tourist?
No,
with your gluttonous ways.
It's not on the list of things we're doing anytime coming up. No.
Good. because I worry for your safety.
Mm.
Much like the house crumbling into the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, are these resorts going to fall into the ocean too?
No. Mexican cartels have infiltrated the resorts.
Oh.
And they're wiping out tourists.
What?
Yes. It's a thing.
I don't like that.
This says popular tourist resorts in Mexico have turned into a war zone as 4 Mexican cartels are indiscriminately killing to assert dominance, with innocent travelers becoming collateral damage.
What? So that's like, hey, rival cartel, I'm in control of this hotel, watch this. And they like slit a vacationer's throat, and they're like, ha, but I'm in control of this hotel, watch me do the same thing. Like, is that what's happening? You said they're asserting their dominance.
Yes.
By
That's right.
making an example of either hostages or vacation goers?
Well, yeah, if they kill innocent tourists.
But how does that send a message to the other gang? I don't get that.
They're ruthless. They'll do anything.
Yeah?
They don't care.
But doesn't that just show the tourists that they're really effed?
I don't know how cartel killings work.
I did watch Ozark. I saw how that one worked. It's pretty gnarly.
So it says innocent tourists have been caught up in the crossfire of warring Mexican cartels. Now, okay, so they got to be careful with their words here. Are they saying these cartels are fighting, and then innocent tourists are getting hit?
That was my next question. When you say in the crossfire, is it literal or figurative crossfire? Because is it that they're just killing tourists as a part of their kind of flex of power and dominance, or are they literally having shootouts at these resorts and vacationers are getting hit?
I think it's the latter.
Okay.
They're this saying that.
Well, that's terrifying, but maybe I guess less terrifying than thinking that they're just going to come to your resort and kill you to show people they're powerful.
Well, they might though.
Well, but that's not what you said was happening.
Well, I'm trying to interpret here. Visitors from around the world have become collateral damage, with some being wiped off the face of the earth as the rules have changed, according to an expert. It comes as 4 Mexican drug cartels are reportedly murdering to assert dominance over an 80-mile stretch of resorts. In just the last 2 weeks, it has been reported that a number of people from the United States have seen gruesome violence or been randomly targeted. See, there you go.
Interesting.
A California woman was killed in the crossfire near Tulum Beach, while a man... By the way, Tulum, that's where my famous Mexico poop story originated.
Oh.
Tulum.
Mm.
Have you heard my...
I don't think I know this story.
Oh, man.
Am I
It's
missing
too
out?
long. Yeah, you are. It's too long to tell now, but it's classic. I had to poop.
Apparently.
I was hungover. And I got on this bus to go to Tulum to see the ruins.
Uh-huh.
And just the short version is I'm sitting there clenching, about ready to let it go, sitting on the bus. The bus ride was way longer than they said it would be. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I'm gonna poop my pants.
Yeah.
I do have a towel because we're supposed to get in the ocean, so that's good.
Mhm.
So I can hide it that way. But there's nothing. I mean, what am I going to do when I get there? I'm going to ruin. I'm going to buy another bathing suit. I'm effed.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, dude. I kid you not. This is real. I'm looking at, we're 3/4 of the way back in the bus, and I look up towards the front of the bus, and about 1/4 of the way up from the front, I see a girl just pop up out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a bathroom on this bus.
Oh.
She came up from somewhere.
The depths of the bus.
And I'm like, holy crap. Instantly, the guy gets on the mic and is like, hey, yeah, we got a bathroom up here. Just want to let you know, we're about 45 minutes out. But and he sounded just like this, right? I'm sure. You know. And he said, yeah, but no number 2. He was like, do not go number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Only number 1.
No dookie on my bus.
As he was trying to explain to us. And I said, yeah, F that. So I go down there, and I just hammer that toilet. And while I'm doing it, the door doesn't fully close.
Nice.
So I'm looking up, because it's down. It's a couple steps down and in. I'm looking up at just this horrified, I think, German couple sitting there staring at me drop
The
of
man
juice.
defying the no number 2 or
Right after.
with
And
an absolute haymaker.
And dude, it smells up the whole bus. Like I get out of there just shamed, and
What'd your wife
everybody's.
say?
Well, she knew. She knew.
Was
but
she
everybody
supportive or
else,
was she shaming you too?
No, she was supportive. She's like, I get it, but everybody else didn't know until they smelt it,
And then they knew.
and then they were looking at me like, "You son of a bitch." I couldn't help it, dude. It was. But you want to talk about miracles? When you think all else, I mean, like you're going to the bathroom in your shorts on this bus. You have to. You all know that feeling. For a bathroom to just appear when you had no idea,
that'll make you believe in a higher power.
no question.
But yet you're still an atheist.
So it says in just the last 2 weeks. Yes, I am. In just the last it was just a wild coincidence that I didn't see it on my way by it. In just the last 2 weeks, it has been reported that a number of people from the U.S. have seen gruesome violence or been randomly targeted. A California woman was killed in the crossfire near Tulum, while a man from New York was abducted with his eyes taped closed and dumped into a jungle. So they are targeting just randoms.
Well, so that sounds like 2 people.
Yeah, 2.
I mean,
is that not enough for
well,
you?
no, I'm not saying that didn't happen, but then it's also still kind of ambiguous. And I'm a little bit wary of all the fear-mongering of what's happening down in Mexico and stuff like that.
Ya.
So I'm not saying that this isn't happening and that it's not dangerous. It may be all of those things. But I'm like, is it a rampant problem or is this a one person got incredibly unlucky?
So they interview this guy by the name of Jay, and the story is a private investigator, and he said that cartels are changing the criminal rules. Previously, they were said to abide by a code similar to the Italian mob, but now it's happening in areas that used to be off limits. He said in the old days, you weren't allowed to target women or children. You weren't allowed to encroach on another cartel's territory.
Yeah, you had safe zones. You had people who were off limits. Yeah.
Yep, and the resorts were definitely off limits. Cartels wanted to fly under the radar as much as they could. The rules have changed. All that old guard code is out the window. And
now it's just about, harming your opponent as much as possible.
And he says the resorts are open season.
Yikes.
Dude, yikes is right.
So you said it was over an 80-mile stretch?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out
like
where...
what territory?
Yeah.
It's like this. Is it maybe like where the Sinaloa...
Well, this story doesn't say where exactly, but I'm going to
the lady
try to find
was
out.
killed by Tulum Beach, right?
In Tulum, yeah. So that's over by like Playa and what's the other one? What's the famous one?
Playa del Carmen,
Cancun,
Cozumel, Cancun.
Yeah, government leaders want to protect tourism, which has been the country's legal economic foundation for decades. With there being an estimated 66 million international visitors in 2022 alone, but this guy says even the tourist destinations are now war zones. He said, who we see it as tourists are potential customers or potential victims to the cartels. Even if it's 1% or 5% of tourists to the resort areas, that's millions of customers and a big chunk of business. There are 4 main cartels in the area that want business for themselves. The Sinaloa cartel, the Gulf cartel, the Jalisco New Generation cartel, and the Grupo Regional cartel, which is a smaller gang created by the now defunct group Los Zetas. So there you go. There's some hot cartel news for you.
Well, Sinaloa is a territory, and obviously the Gulf is too. So that's a territorial thing. I don't know about some of the others that you mentioned.
I don't know, but dude, I don't know. This is enough to get me to not go to one of those resorts. I mean, I don't like those anyway. I think they're kind of overrated. And some of them are really nice. I've been to some nice ones. But I'm out on that.
I don't like it.
I'm out on that. I'm going to the San Diego, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to think of what your threshold is for travel danger. Like how do you go about determining that? I know that there's...
Well, would you go to one of those right now? Right now, I'm saying...
I mean,
You heard the story.
I would have to know... I mean, if you're telling me that it's in this zone where this is happening, no. But if you're telling me it's a place that hasn't seen an incident, yeah, I'd probably go.
See, I mean, it used to be that you'd go to Mexico, and I know we're way over, I got to go. But, we got shaken down by the police in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
The police, they're corrupt there.
Yeah.
But the one place you could go is those resorts. People go there to get married. It's like not really even Mexico. It's just cheaper and they're gated and you get in there and it's fine. Not anymore. I'm out.
I don't.
I'm out.
And if I wanted to experience Mexico, I think they're just different ways of like maybe get a house, rent an Airbnb, something like that. Maybe less likely to come across, the literal crossfire between warring gangs if you just rent your own pad.
That's right. All right. So you're not staying in the mansion, or you are? What did you decide?
Well,
figure it out.
Decided that I think there's going to be a big storm coming through. I thought
You're not doing it.
If I got a wife and 2 kids in there, no, we're not staying in there.
I don't think I'm doing it. Well, maybe I am doing it.
16 I mean, again, the assurances and the
gonna
guarantees of the architectural people, that means something to me. But then again, as we discussed, the imminent danger could change overnight.
Now, I'll tell you this. If I'm 82, I'm staying in there. Like that, dude?
Yeah, I think so. I think that changes a lot.
Go down with it.
Yeah.
All right. The 2024 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees are out. It is 6:23 on the Fan.
It's back.
Maybe this is the moment for New Mexico to actually be New Mexico. You know?
Wow.
Like
I hadn't thought of that. I would generally say no thanks, but
get an identity.
Okay.
Well, they don't have. I mean,
I know
the beaches, but or much of anything really. But
yeah,
I've been to Albuquerque. I thought Albuquerque was.
Yeah, and
kinda
isn't
nice.
Santa Fe supposed to be lovely and rustic?
Yeah.
And don't they have?
Supposed to be.
Where's Sedona? Oh, that's in Arizona. Huh?
Yeah, that's not quite New Mexico.
No. Just thinking the red landscape.
I thought Albuquerque was a nice little. I mean, it was fine.
That's kind of what I would have guessed, is that it's fine. Nothing wrong with it.
All right, we've got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees for 2024 here. Now, I love the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame show that they do on HBO every year. Or Max, I guess, now. It's cool. You ever watch that?
I never have.
Oh, it's great. They have presenters that put them in, and then the band or the artist comes up and they give a speech. It's a really big deal. And then they usually play. Some don't, but a lot of them play. And it's great. Always well done. I remember watching Simon and Garfunkel's was really good. They played in New York one year when they were inducted, and yeah, it's always fun.
All right.
Here are the nominees. We've got, let's see, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13, 14, 15. And you tell me if you think they'll be in or not.
And wait, how many can get in?
That's a good question. I think it's different every year.
Oh, okay. But there's not like a cap, like
No.
It's like with some sports, it's like, well, only 5 guys get in this year, so someone's gonna have to wait their turn.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Look that up real quick.
Man, and I have a tough time with this one because, for one, I feel like their definitions of rock and roll are all often very broad as far as who falls under that umbrella. It ends up being like a music hall of fame sometimes.
Well, it is. I know. I think you got to get over that. It's basically just the Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and that's fine. But then again, I don't know how I'm supposed to qualify someone as Hall of Fame or not. So I'm excited to go through this.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's just like with athletes. I don't know, but I never thought I was watching a Hall of Famer when I watched, this guy or that guy. So we've got Kool and the Gang.
Oh, man. I mean,
I'm going to say no, but I don't know.
I mean, party anthems that stood the test of time, sure, but no.
Yeah. Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know why. I just, my
Well, it's because you liked them more.
Well, yeah.
I see. I find those.
But then again, it's like, of course, I was going to like Jane's Addiction more than Kool and the Gang. I don't know. Yeah, they maybe didn't have a big enough. They didn't have a big enough impact, maybe. But I do like their music.
I view those two kind of the same. Like, I don't know if they'll get in, but Tribe Called Quest.
Ooh,
it's a shame that they're not in there.
Yeah,
they probably won't get in, but they should.
I would love for that to be the case. Those guys could put together an album top to bottom.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They're
I don't know why
awesome.
they're not in by now. You've got Peter Frampton, who I don't. I've never really been a big Peter Frampton.
I'm not
guy.
a Frampton guy, but I feel like he seems like a Hall of Famer. Probably just
He kind of does seem like it, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, like Frampton's in the Hall of Fame. Like you would just say that.
I wonder if any of these you're going to go, oh, definitely. How about Eric B. and Rakim?
Probably not. I mean, I know them, but I don't.
No.
I think that some people in like hip hop like give them credit for some of the like early impact they had, but I don't know.
They're not getting in.
I don't think so.
How about Foreigner?
Oh, hot blooded. Check it and see. Yeah,
maybe, but I doubt.
See,
it.
again. That's kind of just anthem rock, maybe. But Foreigner had more than a couple good ones.
They're a band that you go see, and they have way more songs that you know that you didn't.
Yeah, they have the hits, and then they have others that you didn't realize were their hits that are there too.
By the way, they're saying about 5 to 7 acts get in per year.
Okay.
So far we have put no one in. Although you and I would put Tribe in, but
we would put Tribe in.
They've been up before, and I think they've been denied.
So I think we should be going for 5 here. Who's going to make our 5?
Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 or 9 more.
Okay.
Sade.
I think so, right?
She was awesome.
And does it? I mean, do you also measure like, I don't know, like cultural impact and things like that? I mean, she was
definitely
like, outspoken and like her whole thing of like what she ripped up the Pope's picture and Wasn't that her
Wait,
thing?
no, you're thinking of Sinead O'Connor.
That's who I'm thinking
And
of.
she's on the list too, and she probably will get in.
Yes, but also Sade should be in.
Sade was damn good.
Yeah, Sade, Sinead,
Same thing.
happens. Tomato.
Sinead O'Connor is on here, and with her death and kind of just people sort of rekindling her works because of her death, her premature death, I bet you she gets in.
Yeah.
Then you have, and Sade I think could too. Then you have Oasis. How about that?
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. Obviously,
are you kidding me?
Their storied feud is like become the thing with them, but their music when they were together was so good.
I hate to agree with you, but I kind of agree with you. I don't know if they're going to make it.
See, I don't know that they have a big enough body of work because they frickin' fought each other all the time.
And the one is they're both bites in the ass, but the one that's more of a bite in the ass has already come out and said, "Oh, I don't care."
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care.
Of course.
F the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I don't know. That's an interesting one. They won't show up if they. Well, I guess. Is it Liam that's more bristly? I think Noah might show up.
It's Liam and Noel.
Or Noel, yeah.
But I don't know which one is the more.
I can't remember. I can't remember tell them
of the
apart.
two.
Okay, Mary J. Blige.
Yeah,
You think she gets in?
I think so.
I think she gets in.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah. Very much so. I mean, it's not everyone's favorite, but I think it was it almost was kind of the flag bearer for a whole genre of music, like the kind of jammy, folky, carry it all.
Yeah, I loved Dave Matthews Band.
I mean, I kind of feel like he was the king of his genre for a long time.
But I don't. That's a good one. I don't know if they'll get in. I don't know.
I think they will.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. How about
I would
this?
put him in.
Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
She'll get in, right?
Yeah, very much so.
What about Lenny Kravitz?
Yeah, I think he's in too.
I agree. So now we're already at. See, we got some of these.
We're gonna have to pare this list down.
I've got two more.
Okay.
Cher.
She has to be. She's
Guaranteed.
an icon, yeah. I don't like her, but yeah, she's.
You don't like Cher?
No.
Oh, I think she's
Cher's
great.
awful.
Really? Is this your Red Hot Chili Peppers?
I mean, I would complete with the "Do you believe in love?" Some like awful auto-tuney crap. It's terrible.
Come on, she's not terrible.
Oh, it's terrible. It's like
amazing.
unlistenable. I'd rather listen to the Chili Peppers and Cher, no question.
Well, this is my. Well, I was just bringing them up because that's mine. Like I can't stand the Chili Peppers. You can't stand Cher.
I don't get the. Cher's music is never on enough for me to dislike it, but every time I hear it, I'm like, why would anyone like this?
If I could turn back
it just does nothing.
It's a
for
classic.
Me. It does nothing for me.
Okay,
she's in though,
and then
not for me, but I know she's in.
No, she. You're right. She will get in. And then the last one that I have here on the list is definitely in. Got to be in. Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh yeah, he's in.
He's in, right? So. If we say O'Connor, Osborne, Cher, Kravitz, and Carey are in.
There's 5 right
there. That's 5. You got room for maybe 2 more?
And who else was on our maybe list?
Well, you liked Frampton.
Tribe.
He may not. Tribe won't, but I think they should.
Right, we would pick them, but...
Sade probably should. Foreigner probably should. Oasis oh, no, we had Mary J. Blige. She's in. Dave Matthews. Ah!
Yeah. Somebody gonna have to wait here? Someone's gonna have to wait.
Yeah, I don't think Tribe gets in. I don't think I believe it or not, I don't think Dave Matthews gets in. I like them, but I don't think
Well, when you put him up against those others, like it's hard.
It's hard.
Like, but I do think there's probably something for kind of like being the band that stands for all the other bands of its type, like Dave Matthews Band did.
Oasis.
I don't
see
it. Against all those others, I don't think so.
I don't see
even
it.
if they eventually they didn't, again, not a big enough body of work.
And then Foreigner is interesting. I don't know if there's room, but I think they might be Hall of Fame worthy. But that's probably just me. I'm an 70s and 80s rock guy. So those are the nominees. I don't know when they announce the actual inductees, but I'm going to say 7 get in, okay?
With that list, I would agree with you.
Here's the final list.
Okay.
Sinead O'Connor, Ozzy Osbourne, Cher, Lenny Kravitz, Mariah Carey, Mary J. Blige, and Foreigner. Not Sade, not Dave Matthews, not Oasis.
See, I think Dave Matthews and maybe even Oasis could get in over Foreigner just because there's so many other bands like Foreigner.
That's fair.
Whereas I think Oasis and Dave Matthews a little bit more of their own thing or more own,
Yeah. Are any of the ones that we're locking up, are they in doubt? I don't think that. Maybe Mary J. Blige. Maybe doesn't.
What about Kravitz? I mean, I know he's got a really impressive career,
dude. To me, he screams Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But
yeah, but for what hits?
Well, wasn't he a great writer too?
So and that's just the thing is I think
and a showman.
I know that we reward that as well, but maybe he wouldn't just based on the music, like his own original music alone.
I should get in on his penis alone.
Got an impressive hog, does he?
Put that thing in the Hall of Fame. All right, we got to go. Well, we'll keep you posted on when they announce the inductees. It is 6:39. Oh, are we going to Sports Center here? Yeah, a little over. Here's Buck with Sports Center.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
one of the YouTube streamers. So we're on YouTube, guys. They said, when is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame going to recognize the songbird of a generation? Me.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Rocket to the door!
You know what I mean? Deny that all you want, bitch.
And by the way, going back to your bus poop story.
You got another thing coming!
The same commenter says, who is more likely to get kicked off a tour bus poll between Rop and Sook is a lot closer than you might think.
Wait, what?
Because of your pooping.
Yeah, who's more likely to get kicked off a tour bus?
Apparently, I mean, I was assuming there was a debate on this before, and they're saying that you're much closer to Sook than people would have believed.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't. I mean, that's the thing is they can't really kick me off. Like nothing came of it. Somebody was asking me like, "Hey, you took a giant hungover dump in the bus's toilet. Like somebody had to clean that, and I feel awful about that. I really do. I feel awful." But nothing ever came of it. It's not like they...
Also, I mean, it was somebody's job to clean that bus's toilet.
Well, it is, but...
I think they just didn't want it...
They didn't sign it for
because they didn't want it stunk up for the rest of the group.
Well, no, it's one of the... It's not a sewer system. Like, they don't... Like, it just sits there. Like, somebody has to clean it out of there.
Oh, I didn't understand that part.
Like, they could dump the pee-pees.
Yeah.
The poo-poos, they gotta wipe that... You know,
I have a toddler who's taught potty training, so I very much know the difference of what you can just dump out and what you need to wash and scrub out.
So, nothing came of it. But they can't just kick me off the bus and leave me in Tulum to get shot by the cartels.
Maybe they should. No, they shouldn't do that.
Teach me a lesson, huh?
With all
So I put in my notes this segment, and I put on there 226. That's the date. And Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. Ones I think will make it, and ones I think won't make it. And then I put the ones that we disagree on.
Okay.
And I put that in my notes, and I'm going to bury it in my club notes because they're going to announce who actually gets in late April, and we will revisit how close we were to getting that right. So that'll be exciting. Hot radio.
I'm into that.
No recruiting tonight with Andrew Nemick. He is out tonight, so we will not have that show coming up next. But when we return, have you seen these Beatles movies that are coming? You read about that at all?
Maybe.
4 Beatles movies are on the.
Is it about the band, the Beatles, or is it superhero Beatles?
There's
like
one.
Bugs?
No. Jesus.
No, literally, there's a movie that just came out called The Blue Beetle, and it's about a bug superhero.
No, it's
so I didn't know which Beatles you were referring to.
It's about the Beatles.
Well, I'm way more into that than superheroes anyway.
There's one for each of them. We'll get to that next. 646 on the Fan.
The home of dirt
basically hammering out classic music. I mean, dude, it is.
Wasn't it Paul kind of trying to get John to buy in on like their last big album they did together? Is that
yeah?
roughly
Well,
accurate?
it was yes, it was their last. Well, it ends with the rooftop concert, which was obviously the last time they played in public together, right? So whatever album that was,
sure.
But was it Let It Be?
Maybe.
I don't know my Beatles well enough, but I can tell you this: that is a great show because you get to see. I mean, you get to see what many believe to be the greatest band ever making the sausage.
That's the thing that I don't totally understand these days is like where all this footage has been all this time. Like you and Suk talked about watching that Greatest Night in Pop or whatever. Like people have just been sitting on footage of all these pop stars like doing that, the We Are the World or whatever.
No doubt.
Like I'm always amazed when something comes out in today's day and age and someone's been sitting on, in some cases, hundreds of hours of footage of something that we all loved from like 40 or 50 years ago. It's crazy.
No doubt. Yeah, where has that We Are the World documentary been?
Well, and that we haven't even seen like a little clip of it. Like, and like none of that had really seen the light of day as far as I was aware.
Yeah, I don't remember the story about how Peter Jackson got this stuff, but
the Beatles have been beloved forever, and the fact that most people haven't seen this How the Sausage is Made of arguably the greatest band of all time is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it covers the making of Let It Be. So it's 1970. So it's towards the end, and damn it is awesome to watch that. Like, it's just raw. There's nothing.
Because what I've heard is at that point in time, like, Paul's kind of trying to hold it together because they've had so much success.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's got their own things going on, and it's like hard to be this cohesive band at that point in time.
Oh, yeah.
And for that, like, I'm really excited to watch that story unfold.
Well, you see the dynamic with him and John, and then you see how weird and sort of. You just see how George is a little on the outside, kind of different, but still great in his own way. And then it's just, dude, it is so good. And I think there's two types of people in the world. There are going to be some people that are super bored by it because they're like, well, there's nothing happens. Well, they make some of the greatest music we've ever heard.
Well, and I think
right in front of your very eyes. But to me, the other half, and I fall on the other half, is it is absolutely captivating to watch them in action and just to see how truly great Paul McCartney is.
Well, I think that is kind of supposed to be what's behind things like that, things like Hard Knocks, things like the Ducks versus Them, like getting a view, a unique behind-the-scenes view of something that you're really passionate about is super exciting for fans of that. And so I think that, and for me, like, I mean, I am a Beatles fan, but I think that you wouldn't have to be a Beatles fan to know that they're great and see how they made greatness happen. And I think that we so rarely, especially today where everything is made for us to be consumed, we almost never get the authentic, unedited, well, it's edited, but the authentic, raw look at what it really goes into it. And that's why people want shows like this. It's why footage like that is still special.
Yeah. So John, Paul, George, and Ringo are each going to be the subject of a different upcoming feature film. There are going to be 4 Beatles movies. Director Sam Mendes plans to make 4 separate films, one from each Beatles member's point of view.
Sam Mendes, he did Mr. Robot, if I'm not mistaken.
Who is that, Mr. Robot guy?
I thought so.
They will intersect to tell the astonishing story of the greatest band in history, leading up to their 1970 breakup, according to a press release. Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and the families of the late John Lennon and George Harrison have granted full life story and music rights for the scripted films. Damn, dude. Sony will finance it and distribute all 4 films in theaters in 2027. That's going to be awesome. Those are going to be a hit.
Yeah, he did a couple James Bond movies. He did 1917, did Jarhead, did American Beauty.
Well, if you like the Beatles, or if you just want to see... I mean, I'm not a huge Beatles guy, but watching them behind the scenes and how Paul sits down at a piano and just poof out
I think
of
it's going to be
thin
like
air.
a little sad if like people don't watch George's movie.
Well, I would say Ringo's would be the...
Or Ringo. I mean...
He would be the least of the 3, wouldn't he? There's a really good George Harrison documentary just on him.
What order do you release him in to keep the most interest?
Oh, Paul's last. Yeah, I think you got to go Ringo 1.
John Paul.
George, John Paul. Yeah. But just watch Get Back, dude. I might go watch it again. Watching Paul McCartney's greatness is just.
Maybe I'll fire that up tonight.
Mind-blowingly
I just finished
good.
a documentary series. So.
All right, no Andrew Nimick tonight. He is off.